Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Uh, Turn my mic down just a tad bit. Got a little hiss coming from it. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheen out of Atlanta, Georgia, but this is my brother from another mother. But we got the same father. This is Badger. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Another beautiful day.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it's a day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Ain't that what they say? Badger, how was your weekend, brother?
Eventful.
Uh-oh. Now, did y'all get that storm?
Yeah, I mean oh shoot, we got the storm like back in Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We've been dealing with freezing weather.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's we've been on our freeze warning
Mm.
in Northeast Texas in March.
Man, look here. Y'all folks over there don't know what y'all want to do, man. Y'all don't know what y'all want to do.
Hey, we're everything we're getting is coming from California,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is a blessing because it has helped with the whole drought situation that's over there.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been a blessing.
California. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something about California. I love California. I really do. Love California. I love being in California, certainly by the water in California. But California's a different kind of animal, man.
I've also come to learn they don't know anything about southern states.
Why do you say that?
There's a lot of the Californians I've been talking to lately have no idea what it's like over here in these southern states.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So are you saying there's almost like a disconnect? There's a disconnect between them and the reality of what goes on in the South.
Uh, I would say an awareness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like what it's like to actually live in a Republican state
Mm.
versus a. See, I I have this thing about the more I've been studying them, paying attention, looking at laws, taxes, regulations, a 100% blue state or a 100% red state or a predominant red state or a predominant blue state,
Mm-hmm.
neither one of them is really that good.
Mm-hmm.
One's going to tax you out to the nine winds and the other one ain't going to have access for anything but businesses.
Which one is really connected to the people?
Well, that's debatable. Are you business oriented?
Mm-hmm.
That'd probably be the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Are you can, well, do you, if you're in situations where you need help, I'd say Democrats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So one is for you going. It sounds like, and this is not me talking. I'm just basing off what you just said. It sounds like one of them is for giving you welfare, and the other one is for letting you go out there and get it for yourself.
Simplistically, yes,
Wow. Now,
but you got to do it their way.
mm, some would say that is very simplistic. To put it in those two categories. One is for welfare. We're gonna help you. We're gonna give you what you need. Blase, blase, blase. And the other one, like, nah, we ain't giving you nothing. Go out there and work just like I worked, and go out there and get it for yourself. That's that's two different. I think that's two different, and both of those are kind of extreme when speaking of both parties. But I don't know.
Well,
Go ahead.
here's a kicker, right? The whole history thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats used to be for slavery. The
Okay.
Republicans fought against it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's kind of started to turn.
Some people, a lot
Hold
of
on.
people oppose that comment, but go ahead.
Well, they can oppose it when there's facts.
Mm-hmm. And they may have.
There was a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to pull it back up. There was actually a Republican here that was voting for same-sex marriages.
Mm-hmm.
his Republican Party, uh, what, how do you pronounce it? It's not censored. Um, they pretty much made it where he didn't have access to the Republican Party pool of money.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wants to do anything, he's got to try to do it on his own without the help of any of the Republican Party
So they put him on punishment.
because he didn't vote like the rest of them wanted him to.
So they put him on punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
Trying to get him pretty much banned, barred,
Mm-hmm.
get out of here kind of thing.
That sound kind of that sound kind of wicked there, Badger.
I mean, Democrats would probably does the same thing. It's just not put on the news.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. It too much of one side is not going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just ain't.
And we had a conversation on here a couple of months ago where maybe we should either get rid of both of them or install a new, or just erase everything that's laid out in both of them, install over one new. But common thread will start on the new. Zamari, this is my sister from another mother, but we got the same father. Zamari, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. I lost track of time. I noticed you sent that about 10 minutes ago. I was in the middle of writing. So, yeah, so I'm good. I'm good this morning. I actually had a burst of inspiration and happened to look at the time, checked my inbox, and you had sent out the link. So I was like, oh, better get on there. So.
Good deal. And I'm glad to hear that you're writing. That's good.
I am. And I just sent, I actually sent most of what I had written anyway over to Toya. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "You're doing it, go!"
There you go.
There you excited. And then I sent just one paragraph to my husband, and he goes, "Well, it sounds like a professional wrote it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, whatever you say." But I told him, I said, "I really think, I hope, but I really think that this is the one that's going to stick."
Yeah, that's
this
good.
Is the one. So I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. I'm almost done with the first chapter already. So if that tells you anything.
Yeah, continue. Just continue. Just don't stop. Just continue and keep writing. What do you think about this? What do you think about this whole situation that Badger was just saying? One party is for more welfare, and the other party is pretty much, I'm not giving you anything. You go out there and get it for yourself, like I had to do. What do you say to that?
I don't think that's necessarily true across the board, because there are definitely certain things that the Republicans have done and have been for that the Democratic Party has not been for, and vice versa, right? So they can never really agree on anything when it comes to the common people and what's good for us and what's not, and what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And so I think it flip-flops personally.
Mm-hmm. If you had to categorize both parties, what category would you put them in? Because Badger said one is for welfare and one is for go out there and get it for yourself. How would you categorize them if you had to do so?
Oh, okay. So yes, we have been on welfare. Okay. It is good, right? For the people that don't abuse it.
Okay.
That's the problem with the welfare that I have, is the abuse of the system. So I do think that there is, again, but I think it flip-flops, but I do think that one probably does lean more towards that stuff than the other party does. Yeah. I think one party does tend to lean towards it more. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that it should. I think they give too much to welfare personally. And now, like I said, people are abusing the system.
Okay, that's good. And that man, y'all are just giving me so many different alleys to go down. What if one party, and we're not gonna say what party we're talking about. We just keep the conversation open. If one party is giving more or is more for the welfare system, what guidelines, limitations, what time frame should a person be on if they're going to be on that welfare system that we're talking about?
Well, they're supposed to have. There is, as far as I'm aware, there is a time frame. There is a certain amount of time that you are allowed to be on that for, food assistance or whatnot. Like our kids, for instance, if they're on state medical, they can only be on state medical until I think the age of 18. And then I believe they have to reapply for themselves if they want to continue that medical care. And if they fall under the guidelines to receive the care. So it's, bye, sweetie, because people do abuse it though, especially ones who have children, because, if you have a kid and then you have another kid and then you have another kid and so on and so on and so on, it extends that time out that you receive benefits. And there are people out there who will, for the sake of benefits, continue to have children. And I don't, and it's hard. You can't really put your finger on that, right? As a governmental system and go, you've had 2 kids in 5 years or in 2 years. Yeah, we're not going to give you any more. It's really hard to kind of go based on something like that and say whether or not if someone is can receive or should receive. But I don't know. I think it should be less than what they give us.
How do you cut if you start someone with something? If I'm in a situation where there's a family and I see this family and I say, look, it's obvious they're hungry. They need something to eat. I invite them to my house to get some breakfast one morning. They come back in the afternoon. I give them lunch. They come back in the evening. I give them dinner. Okay, they go next day, they do the same thing. They do this for a few days, for a few weeks, if you will. How do I tell them, listen, I'm not feeding you anymore?
You because just tell them.
Yeah, that's true. But my thing is this: I have become a system that they're depending on.
Yes,
they have become a system that they're depending on, and so. Especially if there's children. Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against the welfare system. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is, there has to be a strategical plan.
There is a codependency. Yes. You become codependent on the system, right? For those benefits, for your food, for your health care. And so I believe when we were down south, as long as Ryan, and I don't know in every state, and I don't know all of the ins and outs. I just don't. But I do know that, you have to have a job. They want you to be working, but you can go and get a job for 2 weeks at some place, quit that job, not worry about it for another month. As long as you show that you have some kind of effort there, right? And so, but there's no consistency, and people abuse this system like that. And I don't know.
Let me do, and we have a caller. I want to go to the caller as well. But Badger, before I go to the caller, do you think some people love being on the system?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wouldn't say all of them. By
some, absolutely. I agree with Badger. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because
y'all are saying some people are just lazy. Y'all are saying some people are just lazy.
Yes.
You know how many people I've actually ran into that I'm sitting there perfectly bodily able. They're not disabled or anything. And I'm like, hey, there's a position. I can get you to come work at this landscaping company or something like that. And they go, no, I'm fine. They just turn down help.
Because they can get those benefits.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but I've come across like a handful that are like that. Personally, I have.
I've known people. There's actually one of my neighbors. Again, we were living down south. I did because I'm a pretty honest person, okay. But this woman, she was receiving benefits as well, and now they give you the cards, like the debit cards, right?
Yeah.
And she told me. Or she asked me actually if I wanted her EBT card. And in exchange for that, I would give her cash for what was on that card. This is what people do. They'll exchange this stuff out to have the cash instead to go and do whatever they need to do with the cash. And then all they have to do is to call in and say, hey, I lost my card.
Mm.
And they get a new one.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Mm.
So, to give an example, here in Texas, to get that EBT card, if you're a family of 4, you can't make more than $1,200, which is what rent is. And to them, that's poverty. If you make over that, they take it from you.
Excuse me. Wow.
But each state is different.
See, what's happening right now is I think we're painting. Excuse me, y'all. I think we're painting with a very wide brush, saying that some people and there are some people that's lazy. I'm not gonna be blind to that. But my thing is, I don't think that everybody that's on that system want to be on that system. Maybe they just ran into a bad situation, and that's why I was asking the question about a time frame. But let me go to the phone. We got a phone call. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, brother, my name is Quasi, man. How you doing this morning? Been a long time since I called in. How you doing?
Quasi, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, sir. How you doing? How you doing, my guy?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you with us this morning, brother. We're talking about the welfare system. What's on your heart? How do you feel about this whole system?
I think we're looking at the wrong side of the issue. Because the child tax credit pulled 50% of kids in poverty out of poverty while it was being issued. You know, if you want to talk about welfare, let's talk about bailouts that Republicans have been giving companies for years. This bank just got their managers just messed the whole system up. Bailout. They're giving these people millions and millions of dollars. And we up here come mad because people are struggling to feed their kids. I have teachers. I know teachers that work. I sub this year from time to time. I know teachers that work in the school system here in Carroll County who, I'm not going to say a lot of kids, but a small percentage of kids only eat breakfast and lunch at school.
Yeah.
We have a minimum wage of $7.25. We're trying to. It's a fight to give people a livable wage of $15. And in some places, especially here in the Atlanta area, $15 an hour will not even
no, it's not gonna cover
you an apartment.
No, it's not gonna cover. No, not at all.
It's not gonna cover. It's not gonna cover. So banging on welfare recipients like they all just bad people is terrible to me. I've seen it help people. I've seen people move from the EBT and move out of what's the homes, the Section 8 homes, and go buy their own homes. It's a transition period for a lot of people. And continuing to bash the whole system for the few that take advantage of it is a disgrace. It's terrible. Wow. We give tax breaks to companies that we spend millions and billions of dollars to that do not pay taxes to help these same people. Walmart just gave their employees probably a 12% raise. And most of the people who work for Walmart were on welfare. The people who had a job, a 40-hour-a-week job at one of the biggest employers in our nation, were on welfare. Think about that.
Wow.
And we sit here banging on the people who are receiving these benefits instead of the people who are making millions and trillions and billions of dollars who pay no taxes into the system.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say, Quasi, is we're targeting the wrong targets. We're basing our opinions the wrong way.
Right. If you want to be mad about welfare, you should be mad about the $1 million companies who continue getting bailouts, who don't pay taxes.
Is that a form of
who don't pay their workers a good wage, a working wage, a livable wage?
Let me ask you this question: Are you saying to me? Are you saying to my listeners that in a roundabout way that too is a form of welfare?
Yes, that is welfare.
Mm-hmm.
Bailouts are welfare. Big million-dollar companies not paying taxes is welfare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Without everything attached to it, without all the negatives attached to it, basically.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Stay right there, brother. Don't go nowhere. Hold on one second. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was gonna just I'm good. It was gonna be something petty. I'm good.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Zamari, I see you smiling over there, sister. What's on your heart?
Yeah, like I do think he kind of misunderstood what we were saying. It's not that I'm not bashing on people that are on welfare, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We still receive food assistance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to be honest about that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the whole purpose of the system, the welfare system, is like what he said. It is to help people. The purpose of it is to receive the help that you need to get on your feet, to move away from it. That is what is supposed to happen. That is the environment it's supposed to create. Unfortunately, that is not how it happens in a lot of cases. And like what he said, he used a prime example, right? Like with the minimum wage, for instance, it is very hard to make a living anymore. Very hard. So yeah, you still need that assistance. Absolutely. So I'm not bashing on anybody that uses it. I don't care if anyone uses it. I have no problem with anyone that uses it. I grew up on that. And that's when they still had the dollars that you would go into the store and spend. You know what I'm saying? It was still the actual stamps. So I don't have a problem with people who use it in the right way for the right reasons. I have a problem with the ones who continuously abuse the system, because that comes out of our tax dollars. That comes out of what we put into our state.
Hold on, brother. I'll come back to you. Hold on. I'll come back to you.
So I just want to hear what he has to say now.
Okay.
I just didn't want him to think that we were bashing on anybody that
No.
was receiving those.
What I want to say is that that welfare queen, that welfare queen, the few people who abuse it, that's a talking point for Republicans. That's a cultural talking point to put that image in our mind, to think that that most Americans, that there's a lot of people abusing the system, and there's not a lot of people abusing the system. Yeah, there's some. We human. We gonna sin. There's some abusing the system, but there's not a massive number. I mean, if you look at the totality of people who receive these benefits, the people who abuse the system is very minute. It's very minute.
Wow.
So this conversation is a conversation that has been inbred or propagated to us as propaganda to get us upset about this system, while the people who should be paying taxes, the true welfare queens, are taking advantage of our tax system. And this is all I'm saying, is that,
Quasi, let me ask you this question.
While Republicans are daily trying to take Social Security away from us.
Quasi, let me ask you this question. Hold on for a second, brother. Let me ask you this question right here. Because we're talking on two different sides here, and both of them making very valid points. But is the system itself, welfare, bailouts, is the whole system just corrupt? Is the whole system just bad? Do we need a whole different system?
I don't, and that's a good question, sir. That's a very good question, and I'm gonna answer it every time I get this question on anything. The system itself is not bad. It's the people in the system who pull those levers, who we elect to city councils, to county commissioners, to state legislatures, to U.S. Congress.
But
those people who,
brother, that still go back to the system.
Working together.
That still go back to the system.
No, it's not. No, it's the people. It's the people in the system. It's the people. It's the people in the system.
That's almost that's to me, brother. To be and like I said, I like to deal with both sides of the coin. To me, that's like somebody coming to me saying, "Well, guns are not evil. It's the person behind the gun pulling the trigger that's evil." But it still goes to the gun because the gun is the one that and you know, tit for we can go. A lot of times people go tit for tat. Well, you know, if the people didn't pull the trigger, the gun wouldn't be evil. Well, the gun is still evil because it's made to do evil things. It does evil acts in providing the person that opportunity to put it in their hands. And so, you know, that's to me, that sounds like, well, the guns are not evil, it's the people pulling the trigger that's evil. That's a little tit for tat for me. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make that. I'm trying to make that correlation on that one. You know, on the people. I just think that you know, Mark, we get the government we get. You know, and if we don't educate ourselves to send people who's going to do the correct things there, then we stuck with a system that gives us this. We stuck with parties who do not even want to negotiate on certain things. You know, because we are on each side all the way. Well, I ain't gonna say everybody. You know, we're not negotiating as we should and making things correct. You know, and for me, I just believe that it's the people we send there to do those things for us.
Okay.
Who are not working in conjunction to make the system work as it should.
And I can understand.
It's a big system.
Yeah, and I can understand
Go
what
ahead,
you. No. I'm just saying I can understand what you're saying, but like I said, I like to deal with on here. I like to deal with both sides of the coin and tackle it right down the middle, so I can understand both sides, if you will. You know, let me go to Ryan. Ryan, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Hey, doing well, doing well. We're talking about the systems. We're talking about the system. We're not going to categorize them. We're not going to put any titles or labels on them. But one system, it has been said that one system is for more welfare, giving out handouts, if you will. And the other system is like, I'm not giving you anything. Go out there and get it for yourself like I had to do. Which one is better? Is there any better? Or is the system itself better?
Gotta move myself. Garbage truck just showed up. Sorry. So you're asking which system do I prefer, or in general?
No, and not necessarily that. Which one is good? Because one is more on the lines of welfare, handout. You know, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. To the point where you can actually pretty much at some point handicap a person in doing so much. Other one is like, go out there and get it for yourself. I had to work, I had to go out there and maintain it and do it for myself, to the point where you could discourage people because they don't have the means. Some people may have more means than the other person, and so they're not able to go out there and get it and get it and get it and get it. So in that mind, or is the system itself just corrupt? Is the system just bad?
So I think that the system, when you're talking about welfare, is a good thing in a temporary emergency situation. But people then found loopholes in that system, and they abuse it. I saw a video many years ago on YouTube. It was a woman, and she had posted up a video talking about how she lives off the system, and she continues to go and find men that will knock her up just so she could keep increasing the amount of assistance she gets so that she don't have to work. So the system is built to help people that need help, not people that create their own issues all the time. So you got people abusing the system, or just the system itself. People get dependent, right? They get on that and they don't ever want to come off of it because they don't like using their own money to pay for food or pay for bills, things like that. Z and I, we've had both systems, right? We've had welfare and go out there and get it. And I'm out there getting it, but I'm not getting it enough to where I can handle everything because of whatever economic issues or just can't find that job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. And I think there needs to be stricter enforcements on things. Like people need to be drug tested. People need to go through alcohol testing. People need to show, instead of, oh, here's my document from work saying I have a job there and I'm going to make this much money. They need to continue to provide actual pay stubs instead of just, word of mouth from their employer or whatever. There's lots of things that need to change to make sure that people aren't abusing it, because there's always somebody out there more worse off than you are. You just don't know it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. 508-924-3521 is the number. 508-924-3521. Vincent says something. Vincent said this right here. He's actually watching us on LinkedIn and needs to be updated system. It is outdated from the 1930s. He said it is outdated from the 1930s. Badger, what's on your heart?
Well, while we were talking and stuff, and me and Z was talking about like rent where they are versus rent where I am and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just found out that Texas actually upped theirs. Finally, after all these years, they finally upped it.
What do you mean when you say upped it? Explain that.
Requirements,
Mm-hmm.
like your maximum amount to get help.
Mm-hmm.
Last year it was still, for a 4-person family, it was still at like 1,000 something, like literally what rent would be.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, for a 4-person family, it's 3,800. I was actually really shocked to see that. So, but talking about this, so you have, there is so much truth in companies that don't pay taxes. We saw this with when I hate the fact of bringing up Trump, but it was the most recent example of where he released his tax documentation. And you could see on there how they filed for it, how he marked things off and stuff, and didn't have to pay anything. And then one year he might have had to pay a little bit, and then the following year he got millions back in tax returns. But it goes to show you how easy it is once you get into a certain bracket of getting access to write-offs. And then now, from what I've heard from the nonprofits I'm a part of, I don't know if it's true everywhere, but at least one of the ones I'm a part of, they're saying that companies don't get tax write-offs for donations no more to these nonprofits. So there's a whole nother situation. And as far as minimum wage, it's insane, because I want to see minimum wage go up, but I don't see a point anymore. Because every time minimum wage goes up, inflation goes up.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same nasty routine over and over.
So do you think it's just they raise minimum wage and then everything else will go up? So it's just
it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
It
just
is.
a tool to keep them in the same position that they're in. We give you more money, but we're gonna charge you more, so you still in the same place.
If they increase minimum wage, right? Rent doesn't go up, food doesn't go up, and they let the system rest. Give it time to catch up to itself instead of them worrying about pocketing anything. Matter of fact, as we're talking about this, right? We're talking about giving tax dollars and stuff like that to all these systems, right? The school systems and so on. Didn't we have a lady on here last week that had actual evidence and proof and is trying to get a big old thing stirred up of how these people in positions of power are pocketing that money
Mm-hmm.
that our tax dollars are supposed to be taken care of. But
Yeah.
then they're going to sit there, these same people sit there and say, and use their bullet points of people are taking advantage of the system.
Mm-hmm.
People are, we need to increase minimum wage while all this stuff's going on. We don't even know how much of our tax dollars is being used correctly anymore. We don't.
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, think about small towns. They up the property taxes, right? Why are there still holes in the roads? Why is my local town building a $7.5 million brand new ballpark when there's no healthcare access in this county? You have to go to the counties around you to actually get access to certain things that the Texas Medicaid system don't give you access to. So, like, when you look at the bigger picture in these situations, there's you start seeing how on one side it's almost a trap once you get, depending on how far you get into it, and it gets really stressful and really overwhelming. Like, I
Wrap it up,
recently
Mitch.
was okay, I'll wrap it up. I was recently told that I need to withhold information to the state agency and stuff like that if I want to save up money to better mine and my family situation. Because if you have more than 2,000 saved up, I just checked it, as far as I know, it's still the same. If you have more than $2,000 saved up either in your hand, either in your pockets in a safe or in a bank account, you lose everything.
Wow. Wow.
So it's one of those situations of, okay, here's all these benefits, but you can't do this to receive them. And if you do, now you're SOL and you're going to lose everything.
Okay. Stay right there. Stay right there. Let me go to Rico. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Mr. Hicks coming to you next.
I can't complain, man. I'm just happy to see another beautiful
Yes,
new
sir.
day,
Yes,
man.
sir. We're talking about the two systems, and we're not going to categorize them or put a name on them, but everybody know what we're talking about. One system is more towards we're going to help you, and some people call it welfare. We're going to help you get on your feet. We're going to help you. The other system is like, no, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to give you anything. I'm not going to give you anything. I had to go out there and work and bust my butt to get it. You got to go out there and do the same thing. Or it's the system itself, both sides included, just faulty. What do you say to that, Rico?
Every system is faulty.
Mm-hmm.
If it's man-made and manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, over how much history or life experience do you have to, witness to understand the flaws in man-made systems and the prejudices and biases, the things that has been created that makes people want to be greedy, profits, all of these unnatural processes that didn't come from the creator. Unnatural. So pretty much everything that man has created will have a lot of flaws involved with it. It won't be perfect because we have the tendency to become greedy and corrupt and want to be pleased, to not draw the line and know how to sacrifice and share. I mean, that's the whole purpose in religion. Most people feel like, say, oh man, this is a book that everybody needs to live by. I think really and truly religion was created to help sort of, get society back in balance because of the system that was created when people started controlling and hoarding resources and started being addicted to the resources that they didn't want to have a lack of. Maybe people abuse. I believe there are resources that existed in the past that we have no clue of. Probably resources that did miraculous things, but they probably overused it and made it extinct, like they have certain animals, to the point where we don't even have a clue that they exist. But I think that's what happens with mankind. It's in our nature to indulge or to try not to overindulge in things that we like. I mean, that's the weakness of the flesh. So pretty much with every system that we create, you will have somebody that has the urge that would think of a way that that system will advantage them more than the next person, and they become selfish. They won't think, well, treat them the way you would want to be treated. They won't think my brother's keeper, my village, but they gonna think me, 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 me. I love this so much. What am I gonna do when I run out of this? But then they got a whole lot of it over here in this other country. Well, how about we just go take theirs? Or how about we find out to create a system where we can always have access to theirs, and they have to allow us to have access to theirs to receive this other thing that they need to survive, or that they think they need to survive. Or how about we just go over there and poison the land to where it doesn't even grow and have agriculture anymore? Now they got to depend on us for this resource, not knowing that we're going to ask them for that resource.
Wow.
You know, I mean, that system, that man-made thought process that has created this desire to obtain more man-made values. And that's going to always make us have corrupt systems, even when you're doing it out of pure benevolence or science or just understanding. You take people like the people in San Francisco that did the rat studies, and they came up with the idea of behavioral syncing. You know, those people did it out of the fact of trying to understand how you can control communities and how overpopulation will happen with communities, you know, when you control resources. They did that to try to understand behavior. But at the same time, some people took that study and used it to their benefit to manipulate behavior and create things like MK Ultra. And the MK Ultra works so good to the point where we'll speak about MK Ultra, we'll speak about capitalism, we'll speak about Halliburton and them abusing the system and the resources and stealing money, and then come right back and use their same talking points to talk against the poor that abuse that same system and that they created and left them pretty much in a way that, well, now I ain't gonna say it's the only option, but it becomes a way of life and an option because you're stupid if you don't use it. I mean, that's the way of life, dog eat dog.
Wow.
You know, and so you got the poor people that feel the same way, because if you ask the people, well, why are you ripping them out for these resources and this assistance that you don't really need? Well, why the rich people rip us off? They're gonna ask the same question. Why they cheating? Why they don't pay their taxes? If they was doing what they're supposed to do and not stealing our Social Security or running through it, then we wouldn't have to do this. If everything was fair and equal and we didn't have to struggle to survive, we wouldn't have to do this. And I wouldn't teach we wouldn't teach our children these things. We wouldn't tell them to go fill out and get food stamps just because the opportunity is there. Yeah, they might not need them, but you better take advantage of it, because you need every advantage you can have in this dog eat dog world. That's a condition, once again, that the system created, and man-made system created, where people believe that you have to take advantage of every opportunity in this dog eat dog world, or you're gonna starve.
Good deal. Stay right there. Let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, family. Doing pretty good. Pray everybody's doing well.
Hey, doing well, brother. Talk to me. What do you think about this system that we're talking about?
It's so complicated. It's so complicated. I can understand the confusion. It's hard to even understand the tax structure. It's hard to understand it. Most people don't understand. I don't and thoroughly understand even how any of this stuff works, because they sort of make it that way. Hey, it's a game they got us in. Dude.
Yeah.
We got both hands. You know, I mean, I hate to try to fall on any side of the thing, but when we say these two things, you know, we got to define them to be clear. If you want to be honest, we're talking about Democrats and we're talking about Republicans. That's just the facts, and it's a good time to talk about it just like that. I think that there's so much on the Democratic side that we need in order to prosper, and there's so much we need in terms of the right. It seems like try to find some kind of middle course in the middle of things. You know,
Mr. Hicks, the system itself. Let's talk about the system itself without categorizing it one way. And we know, and we know what we're talking about. But instead of having to do that, is the system itself corrupt?
No. The system's not corrupt. All systems are corrupt too. All systems can be corrupted. You know, that's the choice. That there's no thing not in creation. There's no thing created that's good or bad. It's created. What's good or bad is how you use it, whether it's cocaine, whether it's marijuana, whether it's oil, whether it's sex, whether it's money. There's nothing bad internally with these things. It's people. People make choices. And the thing is that when you give away something free to anyone, they don't appreciate it. They really don't. I remember I bought my youngest son a car. It cost $15,000. I bought it cash. Walk in, paid the cash. He got the bill of sale, and he was happy, and I was happy, and everything was going good. And I saw him about 2 months later. I looked at the car. He hadn't washed the car. He had stuff. He had all kind of beer cans and stuff in the car. And I said, "Yo, son, I mean, you don't appreciate. You got." And I'm talking this lecture about how you take care of things. It take care of you. And he wrecked the car. He lost his license. He still don't have his license for DUIs and stuff then. But now, almost 15 years later, when I talk to him, it's so clear too. Because he looked at it and I feel my heart because I've been there in that spot. I wish I would have listened to you, Dad.
Yeah.
You was telling me right. I don't know what's going on. And you gotta beat him up a little bit. You gotta throw some punches, touch him up. Then you gotta just grab him and hug him and say, "Man, okay, this is life. You're learning." But I'm never giving you anything like that again.
Yeah.
But I still fall into doing it in other areas. It's just like a thing. If it's not earned, if it don't have that thing that you earn this thing, that personal pride that this is mine because I've made it, mine because I worked it, or either it's mine because somebody gave it to me. They'll get somebody else to give me some more. I'll wait for somebody else to come along and give me some more.
They coming by with the tray again in a few minutes. I'll just gotta sit here and wait for the tray to come through, and I'll give you some more. Let me go to Curtis. Curtis, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, morning, fellas. Morning, ladies. What's going on?
Kurt, we talk about two systems. One is more of a welfare type. You know, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna help you. Don't worry about it, baby. I'm gonna help you. I got you. And they give, and they give, and they give. The other system is the one where, you know, I'm not giving you anything. Look, I had to get out here. I had to bust my behind to get everything that I got. If you want it, you got to go out here and do it for yourself as well. Or is the system itself just corrupt? Curtis, which one is good? Which one is bad? Or is there any good or bad in any one of these systems?
Well, I really don't even know how to break that down.
Come on.
For one, for me to say that the welfare system is bad, and I'm not going to do that. And for me to say the other system is bad, where, hey, you get what you earn. That's how I raise my boys. You get what you earn. Get what your hands call. I think what is bad is that in our modern society.
Hey, Kurt, you talking directly into your phone, brother? It's a little bit low and a little bit choppy.
I said, I think what is bad. You heard what I said at first, right?
Yeah.
I can't really say our system is bad because if I go according to the Bible, the welfare system is a good thing. Because the Bible tells us that the poor will be amongst us forever. It is our obligation to take care of the poor, those who are less fortunate. The other system I can't say is bad because I raised my boys like that. Like, listen, I'll help you out, but you're going to earn my help. That don't necessarily mean you're going to get out here with a pickaxe and a shovel, but you're going to earn it by being an upright human being. You know what I'm saying? By having moral fortitude. You know what I mean? So I can't say either is bad, but all at the same time, I can say this, is that when you start to evaluate life, we all realistically come from nothing for the most part. None of us have actually achieved anything on our own. As much as we want to say we did, let's stop lying to ourselves. None of us have achieved anything on our own. There was someone or something that was placed in our path, thank God, that allowed for us to excel and achieve. But none of us have achieved anything on our own. And the fact that we want to tell ourselves that is an even deeper problem, because it says to me that you're not willing to accept the actual truth that we all had a hand up. We all had somebody to say, look, you're going in that direction. You may want to think about that, boo. All right, don't be no fool. So there was something else on my heart, but when you said speak up, I lost my train of thought. So maybe it was just meant for me not to say that.
Wow. That's
but
good.
I don't. Oh, this is what I was going to say. I'm still grappling with the idea that although reality shows you black, white, and gray, we consistently set ourselves up in a position of failure. Because, and the reason I say that is this: we work so hard to either be black or white that we completely cancel out the gray.
Wow. Wow.
You're going to be right with this and wrong with that, or wrong with this and right with that. Well, what about the middle? What about the family who, for the last 6 generations, ain't never had nobody graduate from college?
Good. I don't think the middle is comfortable for a lot of people, but go ahead.
Well, that's my point exactly.
Yeah.
The middleman thought is not comfortable for a lot of people because it feeds into the selfish social paradigm that it has to be this way or the other. Where that came from? Because that ain't Jesus.
Exactly.
That ain't Jesus, man. Somewhere I read, he said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God's."
Good deal. Wrap it up for me, Kurt.
I'm about there. You know, you. I'll end like this right here. You got people who are skirting around paying taxes, and they justifiably say, "I don't want to pay no taxes." Then you got those who say, "Well, we gotta pay taxes." And then you got those who say, "You know what? I'm not worried about that. As long as I can get in the car and drive down the highway, I'm good." But those who believe like that are pushed to the back burner. You got the two people, the for and the against, trying to convince the rest of the world that this is not, man just doesn't become so phony and fake.
Exactly. Let's keep this thing going, Brother Pete. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. How y'all doing? Radio, Morning Glow, Family, Facebook.
Hey, doing good, brother. What do you say about these two systems? One is more of a welfare handed out to your system. I'm gonna help you to get back on your feet. I'm gonna help you. And the other one is I'm not giving you nothing. I had to go out here and work and do what I had to do to make it. You got to do it too. Or is the system itself that we have a little off center? What do you say about that?
Well, everybody that's able to do something for themselves, to utilize their full ability and intelligence to do all they can for themselves, and there should be no outside unnecessary impediment. Business by nature is warfare. Hold that. Now, those that are in need, that are down, have issues, whatever situation, circumstances going on, where they need some assistance, but they're doing all that they can. They may be in a situation where they can do nothing, and they still have to survive. We, as a civilized society, we have to have means to provide, being that life itself is more important than anything, if that's your moral compass and that's your measurement. Certainly, one who has taken their own initiative to accomplish and achieve and amass as my dear brother just stated, you didn't do it by yourself. You had to do business with somebody. You had to have a product that you sold, many bought it. Okay, they assisted you. So it's not like you just did this all on your own. That's a fallacy. Okay, that's where the pretzeling and the concept of commerce and doing business and all that, how that comes into play. But I would think that we should have means to provide for those that can't provide for themselves, that can't provide for themselves, being that life itself is important. We want to do all we can to maintain living. Certainly, if we're able to take up our intelligence and our abilities and create something in a mass wealth, a mass standing, a mass positioning, then that's expected. You have intelligence and ability, and you utilized it and operated in it, and it has benefited you. So that's pretty much how I see that.
Wow. Zamari, talk to me, sis. What's on your heart?
I was just thinking about something based off of something my husband was saying earlier about where we've been on both ends, right? Where we've had it and we haven't, right? And some of the times where we were struggling really bad, and you would have thought that we would have had that assistance, really good assistance. We didn't have any more than $100 for food a month that they allotted to us. That was it. And we couldn't hardly pay our bills, but he was making enough according to their system. That was down in Tennessee. We only were getting like $100 a month to supply our house. And that was hard. That was hard to make that work. And of course, we were still coming out of pocket for certain things, but I had to learn how to make that stretch as far as possible, because we were just in such a tight spot where that $100, it better stretch. And I really learned how to make that go as long as I could. But yeah, I don't know, this whole system, I'll be glad when we don't need it anymore at all, because honestly, it's more of a burden to have to mess with that than it is to just make your own dang money. Yeah. If you need the help, great, awesome, use it for what it's intended for, but don't intend to stay on it and abuse it. Use it to better yourself, to bring yourself up to whatever level. Like when we've had things happen in this country where we've had recessions and we've had all of these different things that have occurred, that definitely does make the struggle harder. Even if you are coming up a little bit, that's going to knock you right back down. So it is hard to stay above or to rise above, right? But you can always work towards that. Like my husband was going to school and holding down a job. He has a master's. That wasn't easy. That's definitely, especially being the only one in the home who was working.
Yeah.
While I'm being home, and he's having to do both of these. So, I don't disagree with having the system in place, but I do agree with what my husband was saying with there definitely needs to be some other techniques included as far as drug testing people, alcohol testing them, making sure they're actually holding down a job and trying to improve their lives and not just abusing the system.
Wow. Zamari, and I'm going to go to Rico, but why do you think the system was created?
Okay, so someone had said before that the 1930s or something, right? I believe the original system was created. Somebody can look it up for me, but I do believe it was created during, around, or after the Great Depression. I believe it was somewhere in there because there were so many people who were impoverished due to those issues with the wars that were going on and, all of these different things that were in effect. And so I think it came around that time. That's why it was created. It was created to help those women, those mothers whose husbands or sons or whatnot had gone off and never came back.
Wow. Okay. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
When she was saying that about testing them, I think they need to test their mental capabilities too. That's the biggest part of it, is testimonial capabilities, because you have some of those people that are in those homes, the fathers and the mothers, or maybe the split homes where there's a single parent, where they are being led by somebody severely traumatized and mentally unfit to logically spend wisely, to maintain a household, to train her children, or to nurture his or her children properly. You know, I mean, there are so many reasons why this poverty thing exists, and why there is abuse of the assistance or benefit system. Because I think really and truly that's where the problem comes in, is the people that abuse it. You know, assistance and benefits is needed. I mean, we are living on a planet where we should have our main purpose or priority should be maintaining life and existence, and observing and respecting life, the preservation of life. And also not only just the preservation, but the I'm going to say the opportunity, or the liberties, the rights to a peaceful life, you know, the opportunity to enjoy life. I think that's, you know, the quality of life. I think that's what mankind's main purpose is if you have some type of control over the way of life of people, to make sure that there's a great quality to that life. You know, you don't want to be responsible for the situations that may have a person living a very unquality life, non-quality life. You know, but there are people that are responsible for that. They don't care. You know, they would rather make the system work than to actually preserve the lives of those that's being lost in the system. So, you know, that's a mental thing that really happens. I mean, I do believe that the biggest issue to me isn't the assistance or the benefits, but to me it's those that abuse it. Just like at the top of the pyramid, those people that abuse it, the system. You know, I don't have anything against wealth. I don't have anything against capitalism, but I have something against the human factor being taken out of it, the concern and compassion for human beings and life being taken out of it, and it just being like, okay, the system, the economics. A lot of times you hear people speak about natural disasters and pending troubles happening, this natural, and then the news reports, or people will go right back and talk about the impact on the economy. Sometimes you're going to have some disasters going to happen that the economy can't help it. The economy won't even matter. Imagine if an asteroid hit this planet like it did do what it did with the dinosaurs. You're going to be talking about the economy.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? The economy is going to be important, even though life is about to be extinct. Well, we got to make sure that the corporations and the banks and all the big people can survive. You know, they got doomsday bunkers so they can continue the function of government and economics, while the rest of the people are locked outside of these bunkers to die.
Wow.
We got to make sure the government keep functioning, even though there's not a population to control or to govern. We got to maintain the Declaration of Independence. We got to make sure the Declaration of Independence survive. Oh, but your family members just trying to get inside of these bunkers to live, they can't get in. We just need y'all to survive, because y'all are important to the system. And we need this system to continue to work, even in Armageddon.
Wow. Wow. This system. Let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, let me ask you this question, and Ryan, coming to you next. This system, the part where, you know, is there any good in telling somebody, I had to go out there and work. I had to go out there and bust my behind. Hours and hours and hours to get to where I am today. Now, I'm not going to help you by giving you anything, but I will give you an opportunity for you to come out here and bust your behind like I did. Is there any good in that?
Oh, that's the best. That's the best thing to do. I was talking to Rico about a situation I had here where a young guy, he was in some trouble. He wanted trying to borrow money. And I made a suggestion. I said, look, I noticed all these apartments out have rugs, and there's been a lot of rain, and they're all dirty. I'll go rent a rug cleaning machine, right? Go talk to the lady that runs this thing, clear it with her, run some flyers around, and I'll pay for the chemicals and the machines, and we'll split the profits.
Mhm.
Great. But it required him to do something. He wanted me to give. But he don't have a job to pay it back.
Wow.
I gave him an opportunity. I think that's what it is. And I think when we talk about being born right here in this place when we came, here in America, right? That we have so many opportunities that other countries don't have. They have opportunities too, but the system here is sort of set up where if you have the desire, you have the dream, and you have the power to change yourself, to change your mindset, change how you're viewing things, and relying on the principles that the Creator put inside of us, you can have things. But the biggest thing is what's that song they had? You may not have a big Cadillac,
yeah,
diamond in the back, sunroof.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a big part.
Yeah.
I do. There you go. The everybody. So because it's sort of like one of those celestial laws of prosperity and success. You got to be thankful for what you got right now in the present. If you have that kind of experience, whatever little it is, if you have that, I know you can accomplish things, but it don't do any good to talk down to anybody. Nobody don't want to be talked down to. Even when you're wrong, you don't want to be talked down. And sometimes it's a condescending talking down on someone when you don't really you're not in there. Anything you're not walking in there mocking us. You really ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
good deal, Ryan. Is some people just is some people just lazy, or is it that some people just don't, like Rico said, have the mental capacity to go out there and get it and grind and do it for themselves?
Lazy.
My microphone button acting funny. One more time.
Is some people just Mr. Hicks, cut it out, Mr. Hicks. Is some people just lazy? Or could it be that they just don't have the mental capacity to go out there and grind and get it on their own?
You really want me to answer that question?
Yeah. I want your answer.
Yes, people is lazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's people that's lazy. Hey, point blank. I'll just tell you what happened to me this morning. So we start shop at 5 a.m. I expect everybody on the floor at the machine waiting for me to run my mouth before they go to work. Okay, I explain the day, what's going on, etc. So today, it's 5:20, and I'm texting somebody else, asking them if they woke and coming to work. No response. 6:45. You good? You been in an accident or something? No response. 7 a.m. Oh man, I'm sorry. I just woke up. I took some pain medicine last night. I'm not coming to work today. That's cool.
Wow.
You know, I don't have a 50,000 pound truck sitting over here behind me that needs to get unloaded. You can see it over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I only got 3 men on the floor. So now you've taken my workforce and reduced it by a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I have deadlines to meet. This truck has to be out of here in 3 hours. So instead of, oh, I just woke up, my bad, let me bring my behind to work, it's I'm not coming today.
Wow.
Well, that's cool, because by the end of the week, you ain't going to have a job to have to get up for, because I'm not playing that mess.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
If myself as a supervisor can come in here, and I know I'm on here in the morning, so it seemed like I don't do much. but I put my time in.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like
I heard that.
everything on the floor that these guys do, I've done it myself, and I continue to do it every day because I ain't no different than them. I still got to work to get my bread.
Mm-hmm.
And that lady over there gets to sit in that chair every morning and not have to worry about it because I'm in here busting my hump for her and them little rugrats she wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to have a purpose in your life. If you don't have no purpose, then you're just being lazy. Everybody can find a purpose, right? You know, there are people out there that need help. Don't take my words sideways. There's some people that need help. There's some people that don't know how to get up and get it no more because they've been struggling for so long, they feel defeated. But they got to find a way to at least get up enough energy to go ask somebody for a job or go ask for help to learn how to get that job. You know, it's available. You just got to want it. And if you don't want it, you ain't never going to change.
Now, and not in that instant that you presented to us, but can it also be a mental situation?
I guess for some people, the particular individual that I'm speaking with or speaking about, not showing up today, used to be one of my top-notch #1 employees.
Wow.
But they had a medical situation happen, and they let that medical situation, even though the doctors told them you're 100% good, you're no more problems. They continue to create their own problems because they can't put the drink down, messing with their body. Okay. So now you've gone from a top performer to me looking at you every day on the floor, being like, how long it's going to be able to take before I can fire this person, replace them.
Wow.
And I hate feeling like that because I don't like to get rid of anybody. I don't come to work every day with the purpose of who I'm going to fire today. But the last 6 months, that's what it's been with multiple individuals. I done fired so many people out of here. The last 6 months makes me sick.
Wow.
And most of them young cats. Most of them young cats. That's what drives me nuts.
Wow. Wow. Kurt, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Kurt. Where you want me to start?
Hey, start where y'all, brother. Start right there where you at.
Okay, let me say this. Because we're having a conversation about welfare. And I would be remiss if I did not mention this. The largest form of corruption in the welfare system is not the people that live across the street from you who collecting a check. I hope we can recognize that. Because then if we don't recognize that, we have a tendency to beat up on the wrong people. The largest consumption of welfare is corporations. Corporate welfare costs the American economy more money than any form of check you can give to any family walking on a regular everyday, getting up in the morning and not doing nothing. So when I think in terms of welfare, I not only think about the person that's doing nothing and gaming the system, but I also think about the largest perpetrator of the game. When you speak on inflation and recession, the biggest proprietors of a recession and or inflation is the ultra wealthy. They're the biggest proprietors.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
When I'm trying to figure out how to break this thing down. With an inflation or recession, the ultra wealthy has the ability to transition money to places where they can buy low and then sell high once the recession or the inflation, once the inflation is lowered or the recession is lowered, they put themselves in a position where they bought low and they sold high. Yeah, some wealthy people will lose certain things, but the ultra wealthy never loses anything. Right?
Go ahead.
When we, in terms of the welfare system, we have to talk about the fact that the welfare system was not geared to help America as a whole. That's not what it was designed for.
You got to explain that, brother.
It was
Go ahead, Kurt.
The welfare system in America was set up to help: 1, white farmers; 2, white single women; 3, white families. And that's no disrespect to anybody. You can look it up. That's truth. When the welfare system was first created, Black folks couldn't even get approved for welfare. We couldn't even go in the building.
Wow.
Let alone fill a form. Half of us had no, so, this made me think about something. Annie Merrill, God, I swear, may she rest in peace. That was my grandmother, man. My grandmother did not get her first birth certificate and or social security card until my daddy was 1 year old. My daddy was the oldest child she had. No, she had 2 older children before my daddy that died of smallpox. She had 2 twins that died of smallpox before she had my father. My grandmother did not get her first birth certificate and social security card until my daddy was 1 year old. You understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we talk about getting welfare or not getting welfare, look at some of this corporate welfare that's going on. Look at what just happened. We just had 2 banks that I can pretty much guarantee ain't nobody on this phone ever had an account with them. So it wasn't like they were banks that we know of, like we know of Wachovia, we know of Bank of America, we know of Navy Federal, we know of USAA, we know of any number of banks, such and such trusts, savings and loans, right? But we're talking about 2 banks that in all reality was not no every man's bank. One got corporate welfare extended to them in the amount of $3.2 billion by doing a merger sale. And what's going to happen when the merger sale goes through? The bank that put the $3.2 billion up is going to then in turn, when it comes down to time for them to file their American tax return, they're going to file that $3.2 billion as a loss, as a bailout to help somebody else, which means that it's going to alleviate them of any tax burdens that they have to pay the American society.
Wow. Let's keep this thing going. Hold right there for a minute, Kurt. Finish your thought, brother.
I'm just saying, when you really look at it, the biggest proprietors, I think sometimes we can get caught up, because I've been guilty of this too. I think sometimes we can get caught up in looking at the lowest hanging fruit, because that's common. That's what we see. But when you look at it on a broader scale, it's out just land a plane right here. This is my own personal opinion. This is not the opinion of anybody on this show. This is my own personal opinion. COVID-19 was God's way of telling these corporate entities that, you know what? You're not going to keep stealing from my people. You're not going to keep robbing my people. So I'm going to make you either pay what you were supposed to pay or give back what you're supposed to give back. And if you don't, you're going to topple. You're going to crumble.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man. Sometimes the universe will check it when we won't do it.
Good deal. Stay right there, Kurt. We got to keep it moving. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
So I decided to do some research. We have a population of 334 million, almost almost 340 million people in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that 340 million, 22,493,000 is on SNAP food benefits. So that's what, 10 to 13%, something like that, maybe out of that much. So the other 300 million people, I remembered something that happened years ago that I know that's still going on in a lot of fighting, like the cost of tools and toilet seats and all kinds of stuff that our government officials and military and all that kind of stuff uses. So a lot of things are still coming out of the woodworks of our government paying for overpriced things.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, the lady that came on last week talking about, the corruption that she personally experienced and is working on making a case to get some of these people held responsible for stealing money from the people. So the more I look at the population that's actually on benefits versus the population of our country, it's a very small percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Very small. But yet we're making, some people are making this huge fight on, this huge uproar about it. Now, out of those 23, we'll just round it up to 23 million. Could there be some, in my opinion, a very few that would be taking advantage of it?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, there's always going to be people taking advantage of something. That's just the way things are. I mean, you got politicians that are admitting that, yes, they are taking advantage of the tax system because of the way the laws are written. So they'll be honest about it right to our faces. So where is the line of holding who responsible for the use of our tax money? They're trying to blame it on people on disability, people on SNAP, SNAP foods and state Medicaid, health insurance and stuff like that. But the cost of that versus the cost that they use for a piece of paper or whatever else they're using, not to mention what they're putting in their own pockets, is vastly different. So, and there's evidence of it. You can get on the National Archives and all kinds of stuff and find out how much they're spending on a stapler and all kinds of things, because it's public access. But people don't take the time to look at all that.
Wow.
We can go to a Walmart and get a stapler for under $10. Why are they spending like $100? Are they using titanium staples? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like for real. So I understand that there may be people taking advantage of this system, but the amount of people taking advantage, in quotation, of this system versus the people that are in power that's taking advantage of this system is a whole nother category. And to respond to Ryan real fast, the expensive ones that they need to last longer wouldn't be an issue if the corporations would actually build things to last in general.
Wow. 508-924-3521, 924-3521. Got a couple of callers. Going to address those callers right now. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're talking about the system. We're talking about the system. And there's two systems at hand that we're talking about. One is more of a what people call a welfare type system. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get on your feet. I'm going to do what I need to do to help you get better. The other system, opposition of that one, I'm not helping you do anything. I had to get out here, bust my butt hours and work my fingers to the bone to get where I am today. If you want to get here, you have to do the same thing. And we know what the systems we're talking about. We're not necessarily calling them by name, but you know what we're talking about. Now, or is the system itself corrupt? What do you say to that? And we're also talking about the welfare system.
We can put all of them in a category, saying all of them have malfunctions and things going on. This is my thing, and it, it really angers me when people act like well, it's the black people the main ones that on the welfare system, and they just use it. They lazy. They don't want to do nothing. They just do the shut up. Just shut the heck up.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we only put 14% of taxes into social programs that help people like welfare, Social Security, those things. So 14% out of 100%, that ain't too damn much.
Hey.
Excuse me, please. Excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
because we got to stop doing that, blaming the victims for things that are going on. Yes, there is a small percentage of people that take advantage of the system, a very minute percent.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to say all of a group of people or all of it. Listen, the Bible talks about the poor we have with us always. I know firsthand how hard, especially single mothers, struggle to try to pay for just the lights to stay on. They're working 2 jobs. Man, don't come to me with that mess about, they just want to stay on the system and be. No, when you're working 2 jobs, some of them going to school. I ain't working 2 jobs because I was one of them. Trying to make ends meet, not being able to save, to do anything, not be able. Just stop blaming the victim all the damn time.
Hey, Cassandra, now
People are out here struggling, trying to make it. Heck, just put me in a corner or click me off completely. We got to stop doing that. The system is messed up, but don't keep blaming the victims for the system being messed up.
Mm-hmm. Say that last part again. Don't keep blaming what now? I want to hear that part again.
Don't keep blaming the victims for the systems being messed up.
Mm. Now, what do you say to the people that say, why are they victims? That ask the question, why are they victims?
Because our system is screwed up. You get a woman that's working 2 jobs, just trying to barely take care of her children. And then the minute she starts making $2 or $1 over their set limit, they cut off her food stamps. How the heck do you expect somebody to, man, listen, I ain't the right person to ask that question, okay? Just skip over me because I'm going to say a couple of more cuss words possibly.
Now you know today is just Monday, right? What's on your heart?
It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
It must be. Zamar, what's on your heart? Rico, come to you next, brother.
No, I mean, she's right, though. I mean, she really is right. You make $1 over the amount, and they're going to either deny you or cut you off if you're already on it, tell you don't qualify. And I it's frustrating. Like I said, there was a time where we were getting $100. I think it was. My husband, I'm pretty sure it was about $100. That's all we were offered. And I think at one point it may have been even lower than that. And we just said, never mind. It's not worth it. What is that going to do for us?
Mm-hmm.
It is frustrating, especially when you do your best and you work your hardest to create that livable lifestyle. Not even to have the extra and the nice things, but just livable. Just to live, just to have food in your fridge, clothes on your kids' backs, just the basics. And the moment that you make just a little over that amount, the ones that really need it, the ones who are just coming up a little bit, and they're excited because, yeah, you know, I've got my raise now. Now I can afford a little bit more. I got this extra help on the side that I really need. But then you make just that little bit over, and then no, we can't help you now. It is frustrating because then you're going back to square one again, because now you can't afford anything.
Wow.
Even your rent sometimes, because now you're having to choose between rent or food. Because with welfare, you know, they combine all of everything, all of your assets, all of that stuff together and figure out if you're eligible or not based on that. So yeah, I mean, I can understand why she would get frustrated and feel that way about that, because, you know, we've been there. It is hard. It's very hard. And it's unfair sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And welcome to TikTok. We just logged into TikTok. We good to go with you. We only stay with y'all for about an hour because people tell me it's a little dangerous going on TikTok. So I limit my time on there. But what we're talking about today is two systems. One system is where they're going to help you. Some will call it a welfare type system, where they're going to help you. They're going to help you get on your feet. They're going to do the things that you need to do, give you a check and other quote unquote benefits to help you get on your feet. The other system is saying, oh, I had to work myself to the bone, had to work my fingers to the bone. I had to do so many things to get to where I am right now. I'm not giving you anything. If you want it, you go out there and work like I worked to get it. Or is both system kind of corrupt? Is both system off-centered, if you will? Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I end up repeating what I said earlier to a certain extent, but I agree with what Cassandra said, man. I mean, this entire conversation, you know, I've been feeling those sentiments. I don't believe in blaming the victim of a system that was created and is built on being unfair and unjust. Built on advantage, built on the fact that it was necessary for a reason. I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure when they first implemented this welfare system, there was a reason and a purpose why they felt it was necessary. Curtis said something big, you know. The assumption is that black people are the one abusing it. Well, guess what? Once again, it was something that they didn't even want black people to have in the first place. But now all of a sudden, you know, it gets associated with black people or with lazy people. I wonder, was it for black people or lazy people when it was first initiated?
Wow.
Once again, it wasn't just for lazy people. So, you know, what happens is people will get lazy for numerous reasons. I don't like the idea of like some of the questions or some of the answers sort of wanting you to give an absolute answer. You know what I mean? Are people lazy? Or are they just, you know what I'm saying, do they need it? The answer is going to be yes and no, some and some.
Yeah.
Of course, some people are abusing it. And of course, some need it. You know, we have situations where, you know, Cassandra was speaking about the mother that's working those two jobs. And then all of a sudden, when she's working those two jobs, they decide to take 5-pound bags of wings from $6.99 to $21.99. Oh, my Lord. But remember when wings were so cheap? Remember when remember when chitlins was so cheap and oxtails was so cheap, because that was a part of the animal or the food that they didn't want.
Yeah.
Rich people, what y'all eat chitlins? What are those chitterlings? Turnip greens. I never had turnip greens. We throw the greens away and eat the turnips. Let me try those turnip greeny things. Oh, they're pretty good. Hey, guess what? I tried some thing called greens. They're good. They're good. Man, I saw a video of a woman trying to cook some greens the other day. I ain't gonna even go into detail.
She shouldn't have done it.
But her son, one of our light-skinned cousins, was filming his mother trying to tell him how to get these greens, like how to put her foot in these greens. And she wasn't doing them right. She didn't even cut them up. He was recording because he knew she was way off base, but she thought she was doing it. I imagine the price of greens will go up soon.
Yeah.
But imagine a mother that's learning to survive and be practical and spend cost consciously to feed her children. Maybe she made a few bad steps. Maybe she dug a hole for herself. Maybe the father dug a hole for himself and had children by a woman that he had hope and potential, or had hope for, and that he realized had potential, but he realized that she wasn't going to reach her potential because of her traumas and her upbringing and her past. So now these people, they digging out that hole, They need a little assistance. They need some benefits. And they see right now in Walmart selling eggs a little cheaper than everybody else. Matter of fact, something might not be right with these eggs because they're selling them a little too cheap.
Yeah.
A half a dozen for 49 cents. And then you get a bonus. Every now and then you get a double yolk.
Wow.
Well, you know what, man?
Yeah.
Just for the fact that I can only afford this much, but I need to make sure I can feed us for the month and they don't cut back on these benefits they gave me. I'm going to make these eggs part of our diet. Now the eggs too high.
Yeah.
Now the chicken wings too high. Now the gas too high. And you got to sacrifice, so you need some more hours. Now you ain't got enough time to come and take care of your children and supervise your children. Now you got to pay somebody to watch them. And so it's this thing that we talk about all the time called the cost of living. The cost, the man-made system of costing to do what God gave you the right to do, and that is live. Ain't that something?
Wow.
You got to accomplish this man-made objective to do just what the Creator gave you the right to do. What He created, life, to live. Exactly. And all that together in one sentence lets you know just how confusing this system is, how contradictory it is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it really conflicts each other. The cost of living. And I don't really think the Creator had the idea of the economic cost that man has created when He was creating life.
That love of money, brother. That love of money. Ryan, talk to me, brother. That love of money is evil.
Is it though?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So what we look at it from a different avenue. So let's say cost of goods too high. What you gonna do about it? You're gonna scrimp and cut corners and do all this extra, eat the double yolk egg? Or are you gonna go buy chicken with some of that money you cut corners from and get your own eggs? Put it on that grass fed. This is something that I've thought about for quite a while, because I'm, maybe somebody else might feel different, but I'm not a dumb man. I look at things in the future. I got that kind of prepper mindset, if you will. And one thing I've always thought about is, my wife too, getting raised garden beds, growing our own vegetables and herbs, because it's not hard. It don't take a genius or a rocket scientist to cut corners and grow your own veggies and herbs, especially in a raised garden bed, because then it doesn't matter what kind of soil type you on. Get some chickens, throw them in a little box with some chicken wire over them, get you some eggs, different things like that. Like it's kind of off subject, but it's not. Like, we're talking about welfare. I lived on for the rest of my life. Government cheese, government peanut butter, all the way up to where food stamps became a credit card. And we had this happen, so we're going to increase your food stamps for the next 6 months. So now you, instead of getting $100, you're getting $800. It's a path of dependency, and certain political parties. I'm not going to get in crazy deep on that, but certain political parties, that's how they get elected, by taking those benefits. Hey, if you vote for me, we'll get more food stamps. Hey, if you vote for me, we'll give you more of this, we'll give you more of that. It does it on both sides of the aisle. But when you start buying people's votes with dependencies, I got a problem with that, because now you're forcing them to be more reliant on the system instead of reliant on self. And then they become, they become a little lazier. They're not quick to jump up and go do something about it. Go ahead.
Wow. No. I was listening to you. Go ahead.
I mean, that's just my thought process, because, you know, I'm the bottom of the bottom. I had to climb a very long ladder where I'm at now, and I'm still not secure. I'm still not safe. I could lose my job tomorrow and we'd be back at the bottom, back on assistance, back trying to climb that ladder again. And it's only so many more years I can do that for. I'm 42 years old. So if I lose this job, it's over with for the most part. I might end up back on the street hustling, stealing, doing what I can to make sure I feed my kids, my wife, keep my house. I don't want that. I definitely don't want that. But I don't want to be a ward of the state. I don't want to be living off food stamps and Medicare the rest of my life. That makes me feel less than.
Wow. And that's real. And that's absolutely real, man. The phone lines are open. We got a couple of callers just called in. I want to get to them as well. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Rico, I saw your hand, brother.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Ryan a question. Would that also affect? Would that reflect the fact that they might not be mentally capable if they don't even realize that they can raise their own chickens and get their own eggs? I mean, because if you don't know any better, you can't do any better. And we do live in a society where some people aren't even exposed to that type of environment or that type of culture. I mean, like if you were talking to people that were Amish or lived in farm areas, that would make sense. But now you take that same analogy and give it to somebody that lives in the middle of New York and Chicago, and they grew up on subways and in the concrete jungle. They might not be thinking about raising chickens or having a farm or a garden, you know, because they are used to what they're used to. You're born into an environment, and that environment is all fast and bustling, and it's all about keeping up with the rat race. And you ain't thought nothing about, where did this egg come from? Where did the chicken come from? The closest thing they see to a chicken being grown is maybe a picture of a facility that has a huge population of chickens is going to Tyson's or something to be plucked and hung. You get what I'm saying? So once again, we still have to keep be mindful of the fact that these people may not be mentally prepared to even fend for themselves because of that codependency and that convenience that people go and work these extra hours for. The convenience that gas provides, so people go ahead and spend that extra money. I mean, it still is a mental awakening that has to happen, and you can't fault these victims for being caught up in this system of this modern industrialized system that they don't even know about the practical ways, the things that really are important. Once again, the cost of living. You can live practically, but somehow they telling you that you need to pay a cost to live.
Go ahead, Ryan. Give you 2 minutes to answer the question.
I completely agree with you, but then you got to look at why aren't we out here teaching people that? Because I'm telling you right now, a time is coming to this country where we're going to have to depend on that. So it's going to be put on people like ourselves to teach these people that stuff. My best friend, we grew up in the city. He stayed down in Tennessee. He stayed right there, smack dab in the middle of Chattanooga. He got chickens. He wised up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get where you're coming from, but so at some point we got to take that village mentality and start teaching people stuff. Stop keeping it to ourselves. Otherwise, we ain't no better than the government we talking about.
That's good. That's good. Tucson. Yes, ma'am.
Raheem, can I come in here?
Hold on for a minute. Tucson, better yet, let me go to Cassandra. I go to Kurt, then Tucson, be on standby, brother. Go ahead, Cassandra.
You know, I want to speak to the elephant in the room. Ryan is a white male, and his ability to get, I don't care what you say that it ain't so, it is so. A white man who they are the dominant people in our society. they are able to get in positions and move and maneuver better than a black man and a black woman. So his ability to move up and pull his self up by the bootstrap, he is given that opportunity. A lot of times, people of color aren't even given the opportunity to do that. You can say, yeah, they are, but it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. So we can struggle to get in positions and we will be overlooked. It's happened for years. And it still happens. We will not get the opportunity that Ryan does to make it and do what he needs to do. So let's just, let's not even pretend like that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, some of you on here have been able to move up being black. You've been able to do that. And some of us, we have seen the racism when it comes to jobs, getting jobs and stuff, where they'll give the white girl a position over me who had the more experience, who had the numbers that prove that I could do the job, and they give it to a little young white girl instead of giving it to me. Let's not miss the elephant in the room.
Okay. Now, I like to deal with both sides of the coin. And what do you say, Cassandra? Because you brought this to the conversation. What do you say to the individual that say like Ryan, that say that we had to go on and we had to get help and blase. I'm no better than you, or we in this boat. We on this ship together. We actually on this ship together.
No, we're not on the ship together because he's a white male and his ability to get into. I'm just talking about getting the opportunity to get into position. Mm-hmm. He has a better chance of getting into that position to be able to pull himself out than I do. Listen, his wife, Zamaria, I love her. Zamaria is a homemaker, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How many black men even have the opportunity? Because both of them have to get out there and grind to try to just make it work. He has a wonderful wife that's able to stay home, whereas most black men, they do not have that benefit of saying, honey, you stay home and just take care of the home and the kids, not just take care of the home and the kids, because that's a hard job.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go out here and just me make the money, and they're not going to survive. Let's just be totally honest about that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And I want to say hello to, we got quite a few people that's actually listening to us on TikTok this morning. Glad to have you. Thank you for joining us. Continue to spread the word, and you can give us a call, 508-924-3521. Again, 508-924-3521. Give us a call, be a part of the conversation. Curtis, you wanted to say something, brother? Yes, Jamal, I see you, sis. Curtis?
That's Cassandra said something that not only, it ain't even an elephant, man. That's a spaceship. That's Jupiter sitting in the room. Because when you realistically think about it, the wage disparity between the two sets of in society that Cassandra is speaking of is so evident. There's a wage disparity.
And
it's known throughout American culture and society, but nobody want to talk about it because don't nobody want to upset their own apple cart. So we find these little nuances to justify why we think the way that we think, instead of just really looking at the truth. You got a wage disparity. You have wealth disparity between the two cultures that is clearly defined, dating all the way back to the end of the Revolutionary War. That still goes on to the day. But here's what's even sadder. If we go with the numbers that my dear brother Badger just threw out, we are talking about a very minute part of American society. When you think in terms of 340 million people, and you saying, what was that, like 1% of 340 million people are collecting some form of benefit, right? That's 1% of your society. That's not even a nook of the pie. That's really not even a percentage of the pie. If we did a graph and we did a pie graph, more people are working today than ever. You got people working. I work with people right now. I got somebody on my crew right now that's 65 years old.
Wow.
You got more elderly people working today than you ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Now, true indeed, some of them are getting some help. But now, here's the other thing that we seem to not think about, because we're making fairly decent money. But in all reality, if you look at the cost of living, every single one of us poor. Every single one of us poor. Can somebody tell me what the actual minimum wage should be? And if you sitting on this phone and listening to this broadcast, and you saying the actual minimum wage should be $15, according to scientific studies, that the minimum wage should be $15, you stuck in 1982.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I'll land the plane right here. I seen my girl, she's from California, Caucasian sister, kind of heavy set. She keep her hair in a curl. Sometimes you'll see her there, throw the camera in her face. She still got the rollers in her hair. I've seen her question a bunch of CEOs. One of the CEOs she questioned was the CEO of ExxonMobil. And she asked him, she said, sir, she asked him two questions. The first question was, sir, do you know how much a dozen of eggs cost? He could not answer her. Then she asked him, she said, sir, can you tell us what the minimum wage should be? According to your economist and your financial team, what should the minimum wage be? His response to her was, it's $15. She said, I'm not asking you what it is. I'm asking you what it should be. I watched this man lean over to his financial team, said something in their ear. They said something back to him. They looked at they tablets and all of that. They said something back to him. You know what he said?
What's that?
He came back and said the actual minimum wage, Madam Speaker, the actual minimum wage should be $21 an hour. That was 10 years.
Wow. Wow.
That was 10 years ago, Raheem.
Mm-hmm. Let's let that sink in. Stay right there, brother. Hold on. Stay right there. Let me go to Tucson. I've been trying to get to Tucson for a minute. I see Friday. We got Friday on. We got quite a few people I need to touch on right now. But Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? What are you hearing? And Willow. Tucson, talk to me.
I pay attention to the man that's holding the bag. If you can find out who that is, that's the real thief. Can't think about nothing else about with the Sandy, the lady with the alabaster box.
Yeah.
And how it came up that the poor be with you always, because he act like he cared that this money could have been given to the poor. I almost said something too, just not, because it's not, nobody cares about the poor, because they're not. The man that holding the bag is not poor, he's the thief. If you can find him, he walks around dictating what really goes on, or he tried to manipulate it, or he creates the narrative. You know, it depends on what kind, where you are in the world or in the country or whatever. But if you hold in the bag, it really don't matter. You can really stay where you want to, and you can manipulate the cost.
Exactly.
These politicians that we have You know, they're all in bed together. And they switch. We talk about Democrat and Republican and independent, depending on when they want or who they want to vote for them. That's where they cross over.
Mm-hmm.
And we just cheer them on. Same person. Oh, tomorrow he's Democrat. Oh, we like the Democrats or whatever. And then later on he moves to another area or stay where he is. And he just changes over to Republicans. And, oh, that's where but he's holding the bag. So he's the real crook. And we cheering him on.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that it'd be good to see that eggs are so high, so just get you some chickens. Well, here's the thing about that. So many people are used to buying the eggs, they'll fight you by buying chicken.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because they like to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that right now. And I can't say everything that I want to say because of that. But there's somebody that thinks that they holding the bag, or they are in charge, or they're the ones that are in control.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gotten so used to buying eggs that you can't even get a chicken.
Wow.
Because the fight's on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People are used to getting food stamps. That's why it was so much of a fuss to get a card. Because you see what they were doing with the food stamps and selling them because they didn't really need them.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a crook in the bunch that messes up the whole process too.
Exactly.
So anyway, I'm listening to y'all. Y'all go knock yourself out.
Good deal. Good deal. Willa.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Flo.
Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning? Friday coming to you next. Well,
I'm doing awesome, Raheem. Good morning to you and morning, Flo.
Good. Now, are you talking directly to the phone? You're a little bit low this morning.
I'm low.
What are you hearing in this situation? About we're talking about the system today. What are you hearing in this situation?
Okay, it seems like he was talking about our money. He was talking about the system, more so in the finances. I was hearing link card opportunities and things like that as a family. So I hope I'm lining up with the conversation.
Let me say this to you, Willa. Well, let me say this to you. When I say the two systems, let me explain how I started off with this thing with the two systems. One being what some would deem a welfare type system. And we're talking about the two parties, but one is deemed like a welfare system. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna give you the benefits. I'm gonna give you the things that you need to help you get on your feet. Blah, blah, blah. The other one is in opposition of that. I had to get out here. I had to work my fingers to the bone, all days and nights, just to get to where I am today. I'm not giving you anything. If you want it, you got to come out here and work like I worked and make it for yourself. Or is both systems just kind of corrupt?
Well, I'm gonna say kind of. No, both systems are corrupt.
Wow.
And I want to be a little bit transparent myself because, remember, everybody know I had a baby at 15 and I was still in high school. So what I did was I allowed my mother to take my children and put them on welfare because I was still in high school. And then I was still able to work. See, during that time, you could get 2, 3, 4 different Social Security numbers and they wouldn't even know it. So yeah, I worked the system in a way that was corrupt because it wasn't right. It wasn't legal. But I did what was necessary in order to provide for my children because I had a baby daddy that didn't provide for my children to help me. So I wanted to continue to finish school, work, and I worked at McDonald's at $1.65 an hour. I did that, what I had to do. I worked at night and I worked on the weekend. That was my choice, though. But when everybody think about your financial situation and does the system work, and I think I heard a caller say, and I hope I'm right, they say you got to do whatever you got to do. I used to be in the street. I used to hustle if I need to get back out there. But then I look at this, too. if I, because you got to look at the heart now. Would I rather go out there? Because if you go out there and hustle, yeah, you're going to make some big bucks. But there's consequences to those choices that you make. I look at the fact that, do I want to poison my people? Or do I just want to be selfish and take care of my family? So there are so many things underneath this umbrella, Raheem.
Yeah.
The question was, is both sides corrupt? You better believe it is. There's a little bit of corruption in both sides of that coin right there.
Wow. Wow.
That's what's on my heart right now.
Good deal. Friday. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, doing well, doing well. Sis, what are you hearing in this whole situation? What's on your heart?
Just listening to everything and the topic in itself, I feel like it's no doubt that there's two systems that is in operation.
Yes.
Possibly even a third, right? So it's easy to say biblically be the lender, not the borrower.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you get in that position to be the lender when the environment in which you're operating in continues to put
obstacles,
mm-hmm. In front of you, and then once you try to start doing something, then you have the other, which I say the third system is tax. The taxes is going to take everything, you know what I'm saying? So then you have people that go into, as what was just spoken by Willa about, how much corruption are you willing to shoulder in order to get what you need to do? Because we've seen it over and over and over, people getting audited because they're not paying taxes on their earnings, if they have a business or they're a talent and things of that nature. So, one of the things that my dad would say to me growing up, as in terms of like getting in trouble, don't get in any trouble that your behind can't cash. Right. So you do have to do what you try to do to get in a place where you don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Which is echoing what Willa just said, right? So when you're starting off, if you're not in an environment where both of your parents set things aside for you, or one of your parents set something aside, or guardian in general, if you don't have a situation where you're inheriting anything, which really is where the divide really comes from, is because you have families that have inherited old money, and then you have people that's trying to create old money with new money, in terms of building up wealth. And so the challenge is that anybody's on the chopping block these days for their jobs. Before we really could say definitively, white had the edge, but we see right now that they're firing people left and right and laying them off. And that has nothing to do with their color, you know what I'm saying, or their identification. So it's a hard time for everybody. And the government is a business, and a business will always look to see what they can win.
Exactly. Good deal. Good deal. Zamar, talk to me, sis. Are you there?
Zamar. I'm going to pass.
What? Ryan, talk to me, brother.
Hold on.
Hello?
Give me 5 seconds.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay,
Right,
thank you.
That fast clock, man. He got that fast clock.
Yeah, that's cheating me out of time. Can you hear that? Okay. Sorry, setting up my new guy with all the onboarding stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, right? And it's one that you're never gonna get 100% conformity on both sides, right? So, kind of going with what Rico had said a little earlier, because of the color of my skin, we'll just go with that's the elephant in the room, and so be it. If that's what people want to believe, that's what people want to believe. I can't change what they think, but I'm an optimist, so I don't look at it that way. My sister, as most of you that talk to me on a regular basis know, I'm the only white kid came out of my mom. I didn't grow up like a white person, and so all that stuff, as far as I'm concerned, miss me with that, because I just don't have any room for that in my life. My sisters, both of them are black. Both of them are extremely successful. One of them is an accountant at a high-level company, and she keeps moving up the food chain fast as lightning. The other one, she's more into makeup and beauty products, but she's done more in her life than I could ever hope to. She's traveled to Germany and other countries out there, doing makeup and modeling and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, man, like, when do I get to leave the country other than to go to Canada? You know what I mean? So, my wife, she gets to sit at home because that's a choice that we made. If she worked a job, I'd have a house instead of a mobile home, living in a trailer park. I would have a much easier time at life if she had a job. But we made a decision that it was more important for her to stay home and raise my kids instead of putting them in Detroit public system for them to get abused and beat on, because that's what happens out here in these child care facilities in Detroit. You hear about it all the time. Neglected and beat on, and I'm not finna have that. I went through that in my life. So I made the conscious decision with my wife, listen, we're gonna struggle hard, but I'm not having anybody else kids put their hands on my kids, be influencing my children's life. So I could have a nice life, but I made a decision to not have that nice life and let her sit at home and do what she got to do at home, even though we're struggling. I got a decent job. I just came off food stamps, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I didn't come off of it willingly. They took it from me because they say I make too much money for my 5-person household, even though it ain't nowhere near that, not even close. I'm sitting here now trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay bills because they took that away from me. Most of the people on food stamps are not black people, it's white people. It's trailer trash. Most of them. That's a fact. So all the people out there blaming black folks for using welfare and food stamps, they're misguided individuals because they don't know the truth of the matter. It's not black folks on that, because most of the black folks that I know that I grew up around wouldn't be having that. They out there hustling, busting their rear ends, trying to make ends meet. I know that because I lived that. Yeah, I got a little lighter skin tone than the rest of y'all, with the exception of maybe Badger and my wife. But I lived that struggle. I know what it's like to go get a job or try to get a job and get turned down because what you doing around here, white boy? I know that struggle. Hey, what you doing around here? Pull over, tear my car apart, and don't even put it back together because I'm in the wrong area. Miss me with all that stuff. Like I'm tired of the argument, right? So specific people, them trust fund individuals, sure, we can talk about that. But it's like Killer Mike said, if you know who Killer Mike is, that rapper. If I'm on the bottom and you on the bottom, we both the same color, dirt poor. And that's just the reality of the situation right now. And that's what's on my mind.
Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Mr. Hicks, I don't know if I should go to you right now, but I'm what's on your heart, brother?
Well, man, Ryan speaks out of my own heart. You know, I think I mentioned one time in this thing that we had a little white boy that we raised with us, because he had something that happened within the Jewish people that lived around a certain area. Every every now and then their male child will come out. They don't reach custody. They had one child, Peter, and they put him in institution. After I think he was 10 years old, they put him in institution, and he last year. So when they had this other son, Jimmy, they decided that they would let him stay with a family, get that love for him. Had a little baby thing locked at the door. Well, we lived in the project. But when we go outside in the project, here I am with my brothers and sisters, and this little white kid I'm holding by his hand. He's dribbling it, but he's full of love. So to fight for him, I had to defend him. And I think when Ryan say miss me with that, it's sort of built into my personality, this kind of thing. I watched my mother win over racist people just with her love. I watched them start out one way, and then as the conversation go, it ends up another way. So I don't know. I think, like, again, the most people that's getting the biggest benefit from the handouts of the government is not through the welfare system for individuals, but the welfare that we give for corporations and business. This country pay people not to plant certain products because everything is through lack. It gotta be lack. So I guess it comes down to that personal choice, that personal thing. Yeah. Ryan, you're a special kind of guy. You told me I hear it in your voice every time you talk, though. You're real. I like that. Yes, I like being real. And I think that's the bottom line, is that we have choices, we have opportunities. People need help. The biggest corruption that go on with the welfare system is not through the money that goes to people, but the mismanagement. A big portion of the budget is just the people that administrate this money. That's the big part. So they got an interest in keeping the system going. It's the same thing with child care, with disputes about like Rico's going through. The system is there. The biggest part of that money that people contribute for the care of the kids go to administration. They don't. Yeah. So there's always later that possibility of corruption. But exactly. there's an honest kind of thing that I know. I learned that nobody gets away with it. You don't get away with cheating. You don't get away. It seems like you do. It may appear short term that you do, but in the ultimate scheme of things, what it does to your character, what it does to your mindset, to cheat, and it's still it's a rabbit hole that is hard to get out once you get down there.
Absolutely. Let me go to I had somebody I had on my mind I wanted to go to next. I can't remember who it was. So right now, let me go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I mean, I'm similar in that frequency. It's a screwed up situation. You start working your way out of a situation, and what was helping you get out of that situation, because they consider it these politicians and stuff that are over it all consider a certain amount to be livable, when you look where you're living, and it really ain't. Because a lot of these systems, they at least explaining the one that, like what I deal with here in Texas. Every 3 months, we got to every 6 months, we got to turn in 3 months of bank accounts statements to make sure we're not over a certain amount total. If we are, they reduce or take away. And it's across the board. They do that. They're doing that to everybody. Yeah. And then on top of that, if they view you as able-bodied, they are now requiring you by law to go to what's called Texas Workforce, and you have to try to get a job through them. Because and if you don't, they'll also take it away. So even if you're in the middle of fighting fighting for temporary disability or whatever because of a health situation, you got to go through so much red tape. It's insanity.
Wow.
So you write down all of your bills. Shoot, I'll be transparent. I barely get over 1,000. After all my bills are said and done, I have paid 800 of that in bills
Mm.
out of 1,000. So that leaves like 200, and they still say we have too much money.
Wow.
So, and it's not just us; it's across the board. My wife is denied health care, which we have to pay for a private insurance for her, which takes out a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're in debt to hospitals and other things because of all the tests that she needs, thousands of dollars. And a lot of the other people I know that are needing help are in similar situations. They're trying to save up and they feel like their hands are tied, and the only way to save is by using the system's bank account, so they can keep track of how much you're saving, and it's only allowed up to a certain amount.
Wow.
So
It's a lot.
it is. And I've told y'all this. I've told y'all what happened to me and my wife when I called the Texas Medicaid system. They literally said because I didn't have my Native American card and we weren't black, that my wife would never get approved.
Wow.
So yes, that's an anomaly, I suppose. But that just goes to show you how corrupt our system is. They'll lie to us, and then y'all are having to deal with racist a-holes. It's a vicious system of, depending on who you're talking to that day, is going to dictate if you're going to succeed or not.
Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Paul, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
What's on?
I'm doing all right. Hope everyone is doing all right.
Yes, sir. What's on your heart?
So, well, a few different things. Like, one is you're going to see me on the news tomorrow. One of around 65,000 people marching in downtown LA because the labor unions, the support staff and LAUSD, which is janitors and instructional assistants, bus drivers and stuff, they're very low paid. So their union is striking, doing a 3-day strike starting tomorrow. And my union, UTLA, which represents the teachers, are doing a sympathy strike. So, I live in a very expensive place. Like, it's around $2,000 for a really small apartment. And you can imagine that $2,000 in Georgia, I'm sure you get quite a bit, but you can't get much here. So, cost of living, inflation, all that, you guys already addressed that. It's really rough, and it's probably going to get worse. Like, one thing that's happening, a trend, is artificial intelligence is, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to dig into any of this AI stuff yet, but it's going to make so many jobs obsolete. I mean, this stuff can do jobs that unbelievable. I mean, the work that would take me an hour to do, to make a worksheet for my students to help them learn something, this thing could do that same work in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And this is not like menial work. This is intelligent work. This is the kind of work that requires thinking. So, I mean, things are going to change, I think at some point we're going to have to reevaluate this whole economic system, because, there's not going to be, I'm getting the echo. Anyway, there's going to be I'm still getting the echo.
Yeah, it's feedback coming from somebody's line. I don't know who that is, but we'll figure it out. Keep going.
Yeah. I know one more thing I want to say is about like work. Definitely, I respect Ryan and everything he said there about the struggle. It's not just a color thing for sure, but you have to admit that, Black people, there's studies. They've done studies, and they've done experiments where they use, names that sound Black, and those names don't get called back for interviews. So this is well documented, the discrimination that's out there. And finally, I guess my last comment is that we need to respect all workers. I don't care if you're, a $10 an hour person or a $10 million person. We need to respect all workers because everyone matters.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know why I had a feeling Paul was gonna come in, and he needed to come in because he was the one that got the reality check about the Black experience and the government actually having intention to target us for negative and evil things with that war on drugs. I mean, I still get moved by that day that he had that wake up call, because at one point in time he was one. I don't know about this racism thing. I just can't imagine it being that sinister and that complex, that structured to where a government would even do this stuff. And then all of a sudden he saw the government had a system in place that covertly targeted us to not help us, to not give us subsidies to help us have land and parcel and to grow and progress, but to make sure we did not progress. Not only to make sure we did not progress, but to make sure that we also suffered the consequences. So, I mean, that experience, man, is real. When you have certain names and they listen to that name and they already know, I don't want to call Tashika back for this job interview. I'd rather call Karen. Man, my stepfather gets so much access, because if you talk to him on the telephone, he don't sound like me or you. He don't even sound like Ryan. My stepdaddy can be heard somewhere talking and won't nobody hear his voice, and you will hear the most racist white people say, I like the way that guy's talking. Then when they see his face, what?
Wow.
Is that you talking like that? Is that you sounding like that? Because not only does some of the jargon he used sound like something a conservative would say, as far as hard work and you're just being lazy and this and that, he has a twang. So I mean, and it was funny, man. I remember one day I was over one of my friends' house. We were young, getting ready to go out, and my friend answered the phone. He called his dad in there. He said, "Daddy, some white man wants you on the phone." He said, "Who is it?" He said, "I don't know, man. I just know it's a white man." So we sitting there, man, getting ourselves together, man. This thing, his daddy came in there, man. He started laughing. He was like, man, he said, "That's Rico's stepdaddy, man." He said, "That was Turkey." I said, "What?" And I just bust out laughing because I knew then. I said, "Yeah, that was my stepdad." If he thought that was a white man on the phone, because he sounds just like one. But that goes to show you how people can judge and stereotype and say whether or not they want to give you a job or give you an opportunity. He might be one of our type of guys. He sounds like he's a good guy. And so, we all have these human personal perspectives and biases that some things sound favorable to us, some things sound negative. I don't like to hear too many ghetto sounding people. And then I can get around some black people and they talking a little bit too proper. Oh man, I got a certain feeling about these people. I might, I might have a stereotype, man. They might be some sellouts. Look at how proper he talking. Look at him. He won't even say ain't. You get what I'm saying? So, people have these stereotypes, and it's natural. That's what human beings are going to do because of the system that was created that, went beyond class. See, when we are talking about a class of people going through what black people went through, that's on the class level. But then there's another level that if class doesn't work, they'll throw that race in. And then we have to deal with that. It's an ugly conversation. It's a very ugly conversation to have. And it's uncomfortable for some, even if, if it's just hard to feel like, well, you know what? I don't feel like y'all went through as bad as what we went through. But, sometimes we do have to admit that, hey, other people have gone through just as bad as we have. So maybe we shouldn't feel so hurt or neglected. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, man, I got this situation going on, that situation going on. This world sucks. And then I can look at somebody else's situation and be like, wow. Some people that I judge, some people that I hold accountable and that I cast stones on, like Hits was saying earlier, not understanding that the reason why these people are flawed and warped the way they are is because of the system that they were brought up in, and they got caught in it, and they had to learn to adapt a certain way. They had to learn to survive a certain way. So it makes me respect their level of existence. And at the same time, be considerate of the fact that, you know what, that might be the way that they learn to get by. You know, so I try not to judge people based on where they are. I don't want to call everybody that's getting assistance lazy. You know, I know some of these people really aren't lazy. They just don't know any better. Or they don't know resilience. They don't know effort.
All right, preacher. Now we gotta move on, preacher. Hold on for a minute. I got and look here. I got something for you. I got something for you, Rico. I got to play it, man. 70s flashback. I got to play it. I ain't played it in the earlier part. I got to play it before we get out of here, though. So if y'all are in and around the Atlanta, Georgia area, and you're not doing anything on this Friday night, and you're not doing anything on this Friday night, you need to make your way over to Snellville, and I'm gonna show you why. This is why right here.
70s, 80s, and 90s flashback jam. Do you know how to party? Do you still have your boogie shoes? Sine Event Hall, 2308 Henry Cloud Boulevard, Snellville, Georgia. Get your tickets today.
It's gonna be a stone cold blast. Yeah, gonna be a stone cold blast. Zamar, what's on your heart, sis? All right.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Where Ryan at? Where's Ryan? Let me call on my brother Ryan. Oh, he got to give you that finger. He got to give you the finger. Friday, what's on your heart, sis? Give the finger, Ryan.
Well,
There you.
I just think that's really good perspectives and points of views being shared today on this topic, because it is challenging for us to navigate where the government is increasingly trying to take and hold a bigger stake in the game, and it complicates things because they continue to perpetuate the things that at one point they stood against. Not to go into a history lesson or go all the way back to things that we've discussed over many different episodes. But when the government, military was enforcing, during the Reconstruction period, and that handshake was made to say, hey, we'll retreat and then y'all can do what y'all want to do, and a very synopsis way of saying it, that changed the dynamics of how success was viewed. And now we have the problem where other countries may have already been doing it, but because we're seen as the greater power country, and they're like, well, yeah, these are problems, but it's still working for them because they're still the power country. They're adapting a lot of the things that we're trying to unravel and get rid of here. And so this impact is being had of this horrible system and mentality of taking advantage of people is spreading, because they see us, as much as they hate us to a certain extent, they're mimicking a lot of the things that they see is being done. And if the government is putting out certain information, true and untrue, we're left to have to deal with it. So the challenge is going to be really, how much are we willing to be there for one another as much as possible? Are we going to share the information once we learn it? And are we going to stand when we have the opportunity to stand to dismantle the things that needs to be dismantled?
Go ahead, girl. You did good that time.
Girl, you just
Yes, you did.
That was fire.
Yeah. You did it. You did it on that one. You did it on that one. Look here. I'm gonna give you a raise. I'm gonna pay you double what you made yesterday.
That need to be copyrighted and put down as a diagnosis.
Exactly. Go ahead, Curtis.
Wow. I just want to throw this out here, right? You know how we talking about welfare, right? How I said something about corporate welfare. I've been sitting here listening to everybody, right? And I'm pondering, you know how I like to go back in my mental Rolodex and pull out some things so that if somebody is questioning, they can go and look it up for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. First off, I gotta say this, and this is not a plug. It's just some information that I think we all would benefit from watching.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, not Sunday just passed, but the Sunday before that.
2 weeks ago.
There's a show on HBO, I want to say, is This Week with John Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His whole entire segment was dedicated to, guess what, Raheem?
What's that?
TANF. And the usage of the monies and how the money is being dispersed. He put it on blast so bad, Raheem, I'm surprised he's still alive.
Wow.
I'm literally surprised he's still alive. I'm surprised that HBO, that some bigwig did not come in there and say, we got to cut this show. It is done. Because he put it on blast so bad in terms of the corporate welfare and how the corporate structure is stealing this money. And hearing everybody talk, I thought about that show because I'm like, you know what? I need to let my family know. They need to watch this one particular segment. But then it made me think about something else. When you talk about welfare, you got to talk about the tiers of welfare and how it's administered. We all just watched what was going on. Tucson is living it. What happened in Mississippi. We also found out that what was happening in Mississippi was happening in 3 other states. But we didn't go into great detail. The society didn't go into great detail because you got too many movers and shakers and ultra wealthy that would be getting perp walked to the federal prison for stealing money. Right? But it made me think the one thing that sparked all of this, the one thing that really sparked this thievery in our current society right now. And it goes back to a Supreme Court decision that was made called Citizens United. When Citizens United said that a corporation is a human being, and it allowed for the corporations to put up any amount of money into any given politician's campaign that they choose. What you have just did is you have just paid for a vote. So what do I mean? I'm going to land the plane right here. Let's say that all of us on this panel right here was invested in natural gas. We was invested in the same natural gas company. All of us. And let's say we talked to Brother Ryan and we said, Ryan, look, man, you the one got that connection to that boy, that Jim Jordan boy. So we need you to go, and we need you to go on and dump $25 million in his campaign. Ryan asks, why do I need to go see him? Because we need that vote to authorize us to go into Alaska and to go into Colorado and pull that natural gas up out of there. We stand to make billions of dollars.
I don't mean
so
to
what
interrupt.
we do, we get Ryan to go talk to him. Ryan dumps you $25 million. He authorizes it by giving up a vote. He fights for it. It gets passed. Now we go in, we start extracting the natural gas. But whoa. Guess what we also got? We got the privilege to then turn around and file it in our taxes. Not only the $25 million that we gave to the representative, but the money that we spent to extract the natural gas.
Wow.
We ain't paying for none of that. The government paying for all of that. Then on top of that, we got the right to charge a heightened percentage on the local guys that live every day, that every once in a while want to throw something on the grill and they really not charcoal cookers. So they go to the 7-Eleven and they buy what? A propane tank. The Alaskan people who keep a propane tank on deck just so that if the power go down, they can run this propane and still eat and be warm.
Mm-hmm.
See, the whole welfare structure, when you really evaluate it and look at it, it was set up to give the poor the least amount desirable.
Wow. Stay right there. Let me go to.
I just want to confirm what he said real quick. You're talking about lobbying, right, Kurt?
That's just a part of it, but yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, people really need to research how that works.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Cassandra?
Yeah, first, just let me say to Zamaria, I was using that as an example, and I love the fact that Ryan has the ability to give you the opportunity to stay home and take care of your children. I wish that I'd had that opportunity. Most of the women that I know, they would love to be able to be at home and take care of their families. And, because that's in our community, that's where a lot of the problem is coming at. There's nobody to watch the kids because both parents are working or one mother's working, sometimes 2 jobs, and nobody's watching them. So then we get into more of a problem of behaviors and different things that we don't like. So that was not a dig at you. That is a blessing. And I see that as a blessing. So I hope you did not take that personally. I love the fact that you're able to be at home. And I'm proud of Ryan for giving you that opportunity. I'm just saying, in our community, most of us, we don't even have an option. It's not even put on the table. It ain't even thought about because it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So, if I offended you, I want to apologize because that was never my intention. I'm proud of that you're able to do what you're doing. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know how the enemy works.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Zamari?
I appreciate that. I do, because it did feel like a jab. I'm not even gonna lie. So yeah, I'm glad that she came back and clarified that, because just the way that it came off, it definitely felt like a jab. So thank you for doing that.
Good deal. See, that's why we family right here. That's exactly why we family. Let me go to Brother Pete line. He got that popping sound. I don't know what Pete got going on. He got that popping, that hip hop coming through his line. That I don't know what that is, but Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
America, a brightly darkened star, with liberty to lie, steal, kill, and go too far. Just us seeking justice, dreaming of more evil things, while bells of injustice loudly ring. Constitution constituting construction of legal enforced destruction. Truth and faith under prejudice boots, bursting amber waves of rainbow lives, innocence of youth and purity died. Kidnapped, raped, harvested for the worth, forced to experience all that's worse. Pimp imposter pastors, freak nasty deacons, morals, character down the drain seeping, gaining gutter knowledge, sweet sewer smell, fully aware of the concept of hell. Prison, your example of living, eager in line for what's freely given, homies like us to homeless, working all the time, success unable to find, time past, years old, story told, desire for positivity starting to downward go, no faith or hope, nothing to believe. It's at this point your goals are ready to achieve. Yes, this country has great ills, has a history of ills, of prejudice, of injustice, of wrong, of wickedness, of devilment. Many have qualified themselves and their entire lineage for death with their actions and their continued actions and their mindset and their heart condition. But in spite of these things, it is the spirit in you, your existence, the inner you, the essence of the truth as a principle. And we all, with a special gathered document and set of documents, the Constitution doesn't give you rights, it protects the rights that you have. If we don't exercise our rights, if we, the people, don't step up and orchestrate and demand and steer the direction of our society, our republic, then we're going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Many can do much. Some can do something. Some say, everybody can do something. Nobody can do everything. Listen, together We are the people that represent the solutions for the ills that we discuss on a regular basis. But the time is so critical now. We must take back the orchestration, the direction, and the legality of the structure in this society, or we will find that we no longer have a society.
Wow. Wow. Willow!
Hey, Raheem.
Talk
Good
to me, sis.
morning.
Talk to me. What's on your heart?
You know, I was listening to everybody, and it's so many layers beneath the umbrella that we're talking that we don't understand. But what I want to say is this. We know what kind of systems we have on both coins. We, especially if you up in age, should I say. So we should be a reminder to those who haven't gotten where we are to be smart and think better with with planning the things in their lives, like having children, like doing things like having sex and knowing the consequences of what it's going to cause. It's going to cause more than just you having a baby. Now you got to work, you got to grow up, you got to take care.
Yeah.
So I just want to put it out there that we got the knowledge. We have the knowledge to tell our generation that you could do better than what we did. If you want to, set yourself up. If I can't have more than 2 children or take care more than 1 child, if I can't take care, why would I have 5 and 6 and 7 children?
That's right.
Knowing how the system works for me. I say that because, Raheem, when I started, cost of living was $1.65. Now it's $15, and I'm 65 years old.
Wow.
Come on, Raheem.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can't live off of that. Not in a world that requires you to pay rent, light, gas, insurance, and definitely transportation to get to the place you need to get in order to make what you need to make. So we got to think better. We need to take this knowledge that we have, that we, each and every last one of us that's on this line, and share it to our generation. Let them understand that it's more than just a party. It's more than just turning it up. It's more than just taking your money and not knowing the consequences of holding on to $1. So we need to. I don't care what color you are. Because if I have to buy eggs at $2, so do you. So it don't matter what color you are at the register.
Yeah.
We still got to pay the same cost.
Got to pay the same
So my
cost.
key is same cost, Raheem. Same cost. Unless you go to Trader Joe's, and I don't go there. But I'm just saying what I'm saying. I go to Aldi. But what I'm saying is we gotta teach better finances and planning our lives. That not to have, you're 25 and you got 4 children. Come on. You know what's on my heart, Raheem.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Good deal.
That's what I'm saying. As the Morning Glow, we are the solution to where we've been, to not to keep going down that same road.
Exactly.
That's what's on my heart, Raheem.
Good deal. Good deal. Toussaint. Talk to me, Toussaint.
I'm gonna say something real crazy. I was gonna say stupid.
No.
When Ryan was talking earlier, for some reason, I thought about the Incy Wincy spider. You know how you climb up the water spout, up can the rain and drop the down can the rain and wash the spider, and the Incy Wincy spider, and the revolving door of life. Doing it all over again, going through the same process in the same system with the same results, over and over and over and over again.
Wow. Wow.
You think you got it. You think you get it, but and you think you made it, and all you got to do to start all over again, the possibility of going to work, and they tell you they don't need you no more. You You know what I'm getting to the point right now. I think I figured out it costs to go to work.
Yeah.
It costs. I mean, I spend a lot of money going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Got to put gas. Got to eat during the day. Got to buy clothes. Got to shoes. Got to have safety shoes. Got to do this and that and other. It costs to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about. I don't know. I see some people spend all their life trying to retire only to go to work again.
Yep.
Because they're not the ones that really holding the bag. I keep going back to that because that's what's on my mind, right?
I see.
On my heart.
I see you. Now,
You know what I'm saying?
Now, Zamari, is Zamari, is he still the wise man?
For a minute there, I thought I was going to have to call a mental institution for him. He just started singing about the itsy bitsy spider. I'm like,
Think about it. Think about it. You don't have to go sit in the corner.
But it made sense, though. Honestly,
and quote the lyrics of that song. And you see what I'm talking about.
And that's what I'm saying. Like after he explained it, we do it over and over and over again, just like that spider does, up and down, up and down. So after he said that, yeah, he's still a wise man.
Oh Lord, I thought he had lost his wise man card. I thought he had lost it.
He almost did. Almost.
Can I throw something in there real quick?
Real quick, Benjamin.
All right, because I have to go. The system's corrupt, no matter which way we look at it. They're going to use whatever means necessary to cause us to fight, to keep us separated in the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever means they can possibly use. So to me, until we come together as a human race and fight the same enemies, we ain't going to change much. And that's an unfortunate reality, is we have to come together. We're all dealing with the same corrupt people that are putting money in their pockets instead of actually letting the systems work the way that they can work. And one last thing, Willa, when you do the prayer today, can you throw my kids in there for me, please? I'm taking them to the doctor right now. They don't have strep, but their tonsils are swollen and stuff, and we don't know what's going on. So I got to go find out.
Okay.
So
good deal. Good deal.
Have a blessed day, everybody.
All right, you too, brother. You too. Friday. Now Friday is 10:07. It's 10:07. Now I need your quick version. What's on your heart? Your quick version of what's on your heart.
We can make a difference together.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Mr. Hicks, give me your quick version. What's on your heart? But your quick version now. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Oh Lord, what you done did over there, Miss Hicks? Why you doing that?
He was ready too.
Yeah, you know, they're just a smiling boy. He had some good.
He asking if we know sign language.
Okay, that mean goodbye. Okay. Oh, all right, I got you. Ryan, while he's getting this sound together, your quick version, brother. What's on your heart?
So I had some young cats teach me something yesterday. I remember somebody was talking about, excuse me, moving some tires, automated stuff. These young cats, I think it was Paul. I'm assuming Paul is a teacher. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I had some guys talking to me last night that were telling me about this new program like Chat AI or something like that.
Yeah.
And these cats were telling me that they could literally sit there and use this program, and this program is stealing teachers' jobs. It's doing everything that a teacher could possibly hope to do in a whole term in a matter of, and they're going to start using it to teach class.
Yeah. Mr. Hicks, you fixed that sound situation? No, sir. Make sure. And no, and Ms. Hicks, I do not have you muted this time. It's on your end, brother. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, your quick version. What's on your heart, sis? Cassandra?
Now Raheem frozen, so it's on us.
Yeah, I just realized he was frozen.
Yeah. So I guess I go since it's my turn, man. I agree with what Willa was saying, but as she was speaking, it really started dawning on me again, pretty much what Donald was saying about the itsy bitsy spider. Every time we do start having some type of awakening, and we start getting more in tune with having a personal relationship with the priorities of self-preservation and what's natural, they distract us with somebody that identifies with their ideal success, that tells us that it's okay to have 9 children by 8 different women like Nick Cannon.
Man, this thing shut me down, man, for a minute.
Yeah, it had you. And so, with that being the situation, we actually are countering or trying to work against the message of those that have more of an influence. So it's hard really trying to keep people from being tempted.
There are 5 participants in the conference.
I really agree that
Please announce yourself.
We do need to make sure we let people know or try to inform the younger generations about being wise with their money, not blowing money or being lit all the time, just having children left and right. But you got Lil Wayne and Nick Cannon and NBA YoungBoy saying something totally different. You got Floyd Mayweather telling you something totally different. And it's hard for us to compete with them on this same media. Right now, you will never get the attention that Future would get. When Future's telling somebody that it's okay to live this lifestyle or that it's not tricking if you got it. Remember that we fighting that culture that says it ain't tricking if you got it. We fighting a culture now that's saying, hey, if it's available, it makes sense. OnlyFans, hey, pimp yourself. Throw morals out the window. And so that's the monster that we're fighting. And we're going to continue to fight that. Every time somebody like Willa or myself or Friday comes and exposes the system that exists, somebody in that system is going to go and tempt and distract people with this other idea of success and influence from people that have achieved that success to tell them this is the way you should go. This is acceptable. So this is a fight, man. This is a battle for souls and spirits. It's going to be tough.
And it ain't gonna get no easier. It ain't gonna get no easier, but we can't give up, man. And for whatever reason, man, the system is I don't know whether they just didn't like this conversation, but the system done shut me down like 3 times. And so we ready to get on out of here before I do it again. Anybody got anything real quickly? Even my voice acting up. Anybody got anything real quickly before we get out of here?
Stay woke, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm finna do an OnlyFans.
Don't do it.
I'm put my feet in some food and put them up on the camera. You never go see my face, just my toes.
That's called indigestion. Listen, Enrico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today, sir? Can't hear you.
If you missed today's show and would like to hear or see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dklmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Boy, look at feet with some food on it, Lord Jesus. Willa!
Come on, Raheem.
Willa, are you ready?
I'm ready, Raheem. I am so ready to receive God's word. Come on, Raheem. Let's go.
Well, Willa,
let's go, Raheem.
I ain't got one more thing to say to you. And Mr. Hicks, I wish your mic was on. I'll tell you what it was. I'll let you tell her what it was, but I'm gonna say it myself. Let's go.
Let's go, Raheem. Amen. Let us go before the throne this morning. Let us go before the throne with a humble heart, with bowed down heads. Let us go worshiping our King of Kings, our Lord of Lords. First, we want to just say thank you. Thank you, Lord, for waking us up this morning, giving us another opportunity to get it right with you, Lord. Father, we thank you for all the things that you do in our lives. Sometimes we just forget to say thank you because we believe that we did it on our own. But the devil is a lie. We know that there's nothing we can't do without you. We know that you are able to do abundantly and exceedingly all things in our lives, Lord. So I'm praying this, Lord. I'm praying today, Lord, for your healing, Lord, for Badger and his family, Lord. Father, whatever it is that his children are going through, Father, we know that you already know. But he's petitioning to you, Lord, that whatever it is, that whether it's something for a throat, their throats, whatever it is, Lord, that you are revealing to the doctors that are looking at his children, Lord. We're asking, Lord, that you bring healing because you said it in your word, that by your sight we are healed. And Father, we believe it. Father, we believe that you can do anything but tell us, Lord. The Bible tells us, what manner of man is this that the sea and the wind obey? Ooh, Lord, we thank you for the power of the Holy Spirit that delivers and bring us through whatever it is that's in our lives, Lord, because we believe in you. Father, I'm praying today, Lord. Father, we know that you do things in your time. So I'm asking you, Lord, to continually allow the hope to stay manifested and planted in our hearts, that our faith is grounded and continually believe and trust you, because the enemy is here to steal, kill, and destroy. But Father, we know that you're able to conquer anything in our lives. We trust you, Lord. So I'm asking you to touch each and every last one, whatever it is, Lord, that they're going through, Lord. Father, I'm asking you, oh Lord, not only to bring them through, but to carry them over the circumstances of whatever it is that they're fighting, Lord, that you help them, Lord. I'm asking you, Lord, today. I'm asking in your Son Jesus' name, because your word says that if you ask it in his name and it lines up with your will, that you will answer our prayer. So I'm asking you, Lord, today to answer our prayer. Touch Raheem and the Morning Glow. Thank you. Thank you for a successful show that you allowed him to bring forth in your name. We give you the honor. We give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. Glory to Almighty God.
Yes,
we thank you, Lord. Amen. Amen.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Wow. With that being said, there's only one more thing for us to do. Let's get on out of here. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank you for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:18. It's 10:18. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might get some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. Talk to you tomorrow morning. God say the same. Have a great day. Love you. and give somebody some love and truth. They would appreciate it, and I'm sure that you will as well. Have a great day.